Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's Talk or Ask Us Anything. It's been a particularly busy week this week. Something quite minor happened, I think it was last Friday, our time. And this video probably shows a little bit about what that was.
The goal here with the Model S was to create not the best electric car, but actually the best car of any kind.
The Model S. This is an ambitious goal to create a whole new kind of car. A lot of Wall Street is betting Tesla can't get it done.
Yes, so that's sort of pretty self-explanatory. Suffice to say that it's currently the world's fastest production car, or at least the fastest accelerating production car. Actually, just a quickie to interrupt the news. We'll do introductions straight after the news, and then we'll get into general discussions of all the questions that new owners need to know about their Model 3s, because that's what Tesla's delivering at the moment. But we'll just push through the news a little bit, and then we'll do some extended discussions sort of towards the end. So the Model S Plaid release had a few interesting little bits and pieces. I'll just try and open this now. Probably in keeping with the way Elon Musk did the presentation, some of these slides, they're in alphabetical order, but they're not necessarily in the correct order. So I'm going to start with the first image, which is a bit oblique. And that's a photo, shout out to Tesla Raj. This is Tesla's lithium-ion 12-volt battery, which the Model S now has. And no doubt that our cars will eventually get, well, the new versions of our cars. Apparently, it's actually a 15.5-volt pack, even though it's notionally 12. And this is basically going to last the lifetime of the car, well, at least the lifetime of the car's normal pack.
New battery.
And then I don't even know what the next slide is. So just like Elon Musk, I'm just going to flick to the next one and then just talk about it off the cuff. Oh, yes. This is the Plaid badge. So normally you have Model S or Model X, Model 3, and this is the actual badge that denotes it as a Plaid Model S.
Hey, Harold, was that just for the first 25 cars that were delivered on the night, or is that going forward as well, do you think?
No, that's right. Only the 25 delivery cars got that badge. Subsequent cars have the word Plaid.
Got it.
Oh, that's disappointing, because I reckon that's a pretty good badge.
It's another unicorn, you know. So if you got one of those cars, you've got a one of 25.
So I'm therefore guessing that there'll be a bit of a grey market for unofficial Plaid lookalike badges.
Absolutely, start manufacturing them now.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2 weeks.
Okay, next slide at random. Oh, here we go. So as Elon Musk quite sagely said, this has got the lowest drag coefficient of any car in production. But what he did actually say was this was actually the lowest drag coefficient of a car whose wheels are spinning. So this is a car in motion, as opposed to the implication that some drag coefficients are gained by cars just in test wind tunnels where the wheels aren't spinning. So you've obviously got to take into account the actual rims and what they do on the airflow. And of course, he compared the Plaid power curve to all the other models, which I'm not sure if Rob is here. He has a P85, a 2015 P85.
He's got a P85D, which is in between the P85 and the P100.
Oh, you're right too there, Ken. So his car is probably better than that one shown.
There's a
But
few
clearly-
P85. There's a few P85s in Perth. I think Matt Kemner's got one, and but yeah, most of them are Ds, which are a little bit quicker, and had insane mode.
Yes, exactly. Oh yes, this was something that Elon Musk made small mention of. You can see the rotors here. These are basically the spinning parts of the induction motors. And the reason why they look black is because they've actually got carbon fiber overwrappings, which he explained was because the G-forces, when this thing is doing 20,000 RPM, is inclined to literally tear it apart. So the overwrapping is there to keep everything together, which is pretty cool. And I dare say a rather expensive thing to do. For
Well,
a car
he said they had to design their own machine to be able to fabricate it because no machine existed that could do it.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And the fact that they're spinning at 20,000 RPM when it's doing its 250 miles an hour is just, well, that's ludicrous, to say the least. I mean, how many electric motors?
No,
That's not ludicrous. That's
beyond
bad.
ludicrous. It's
It's
Plaid.
beyond ludicrous, exactly.
Okay, moving right along, because we're going to do this sort of in Elon style. The next image is the basic specs. So 0 to 60 miles per hour, I think it's 102 kilometers an hour, is 1.99 seconds. They don't have the asterisk because on the website there's an asterisk that says that's excluding the first 1 foot rollout, which is actually chewing up about a fifth of a second, roughly. 9.23 seconds quarter mile. I presume that's fast. And yes, a ridiculous 200 miles per hour top speed, which is why
60
you need
miles an hour, Harold, is about 94 to 95 kilometers an hour, not 102. 100 kilometers an hour is 62 miles an hour.
Oh, apologies. Oh, it's actually the other way. So we're going to be slower. We're going to be above 2 seconds because up north 100.
Correct.
Yeah, 2.1, I think.
Cool. 390 mile range. None of that's actually changed because they've deleted the Plaid Plus, and this is just using the standard modified chemistry 18650 batteries. And this one was interesting. The 187 mile charge in 15 minutes actually translates to about 299 or 300 kilometers in 15 minutes. And that dovetails precisely into 250 kilowatts. Model 3 to long range and performance Model 3s. He also described the cooling system. So the radiator is actually twice as large as the previous Model S radiator. And you've also got the heat pump system, the octavalve, which makes winter running a lot more efficient. And the vastly increased radiator size means you can go round and around the Nürburgring and not run out of power. And I must admit, I've actually experienced that on the autobahns. If you do 200 k's an hour, it basically goes into thermal after about 5 minutes and reduces power. Presumably the Plaid won't do that. Oh, and that's the end of that. So that was the short version of the Plaid delivery event. There was one little snippet of video that I thought was sort of interesting, and that's this bit. Which, apart from Elon's unfortunate gesture there, if we just, this happens to be Perth, and this is Williams, and this is Eaton, because as part of the background, Tesla was showing how awesome their supercharger coverage was. So if we just step through this video,
250 kilowatts. So you're saying the power of the superchargers, 200.
that's WA, and then there's nothing. And then we go to
kilowatts.
the Eastern Seaboard, and it's just girt by chargers. So I thought it was ironic that Tesla sort of did show WA but you couldn't really see how vast the emptiness of it was. But something Elon Musk did just mention just then, which was actually probably the best part of the whole presentation, was he described the superchargers, and he said that the current power is 250 kilowatts. And then he said, but we're going to increase that. He goes to 280 to 300 kilowatts and to 350. So I think that's the bit of news that really is important, is that Tesla's not going to stand still, and they are going to increase supercharger speeds, which for new owners is sort of like, what does that really mean? What it really means is your car is going to charge, or the future cars are going to charge even faster than they can now at the fast DC superchargers, which is going to be pretty awesome. The only other bit of news I've got, which is sort of interesting for us, although it might end up becoming ironic, is that New Zealand has announced a very progressive subsidy scheme for EVs. What they're basically doing is effectively increasing the price of fuel inefficient vehicles and using that money to make highly fuel efficient vehicles and EVs much more affordable. And there's a couple of examples. So if you've got a Tesla Model 3, it's going to be 8,625 New Zealand dollars cheaper. But on the other hand, if you buy a Toyota Hilux, it's going to cost you 2,900 more, because it emits 236 grams of CO2 per kilometre. Whereas of course the Teslas and other EVs emit nothing. So big shout out to New Zealand for being very progressive. And perhaps if we had something like that in Australia, EVs would be a lot more popular than they already are. But there you have it. I
do like how they're biased. So they're rewarding plug-in hybrids over non-plug-in hybrids, which is also a really nice little economic lever.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I'll go back to that screen. Yeah, you're right, Ken.
If only we had governments that cared, you know.
As opposed to care less.
Well,
yes. So you sorry, where was the?
So, for example, Mitsubishi Outlander, you get $5,700, but
oh yes, yep.
But a Corolla hybrid, you only get $3,000.
Yes. So unlike the self-charging hybrids that charge while you drive, they get a reduced rate. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And
I guess it's sort of neutral on the zero band, which is quite efficient vehicles, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And so it's completely appropriate that if you want to buy a Nissan Navara because you have a certain use case for it, or a Ford Ranger, well, it's going to cost a little bit of extra money. But you know, I don't think those people are going to make it less popular per se, because they're going to buy it anyway. But certainly there are a lot of EV owners that need that little bit of extra incentive to get them across the line, and that's a great thing to happen.
It looks like a very well thought out program. I think it's very logical, makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just in case anyone thought that EVs are a new thing, my last news item comes from 1943, and it goes something like this. That didn't work.
This is the first fully electric taxi from 1943 in Spain. And this is not a gas station. This is a battery quick swap station. When the taxi ran low on battery, they were able to exchange those batteries within 5 minutes. A new full battery gets put in and the taxi can drive around customers again. The old battery, of course, gets recharged and put into the next taxi for the next quick swap. And all this was happening already in 1943.
So there you go. Everything old is new again.
Well, actually, the first EVs came about around the turn of the century.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they actually preceded internal combustion cars, and they were more popular than them in when they first started. So there you go. So back to the very important thing, which is I'd like to welcome all our new members, and I see lots and lots. So apologies if you can. I'll just go around the room as I see them. So Angela, welcome, Angela and partner.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Pick up my Model 3 on Monday. So I haven't got it yet, but I thought I'd say hi to you guys and join the club. Pete's been very helpful and I'm very excited. Can't wait.
Excellent. We'll give you some sage advice when it comes to when your car is actually, when you pick your car up. So look out for that.
Yeah, well, I'll be driving back. I live down south in Denmark, near Denmark. And so it's going to be a big day. You know, I'll pick up the car Monday morning and drive home that day. So I've got a big trip for the first.
Cool. Well, actually, we might as well do this right now. One thing that might be useful to do to relieve some of your stress is if you've got time, just give Harry or Joel or Jamie or whoever it was that you were dealing with a quick buzz. And just say, just as a reminder, you know, I am going to Denmark. Please make sure my car is very charged.
Oh, I've already done that. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, there's a couple. Anyway, we'll do the intros first.
Yeah, cool. No worries. Okay, and I see. I think Charlene. I think you've come back. So I think I recall you before. Is that right? Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
cool. Excellent. Okay, welcome back.
I just swapped my phone to the PC. So
Awesome.
yeah. So I'm a 1 week owner. Absolutely having the time of my life right now.
Fantastic.
Huge learning curve.
Yes, it is.
Lots of fun.
Yes, it is. I used to have hair when I first learned about Tesla, and now I don't.
But yeah. I was just going to say I'm a very obsessive kind of person, so you'll see me around.
Oh, very good. We like that. Now, I think Raj, have you been on before? I'm not. We've got a couple of new Rajas, and I'm not sure if you're the new Raj or the old Raj.
Is that Raj the grey ghost?
We can't see. Well, here we go. Yes, he was there last week. Okay, welcome back, Raj. No worries. Fantastic. And we've got Jared. Oh, welcome, Jared. You're much easier to understand than Renee.
Yeah, that's my counterpart. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Sam, you've been on before, or if not, welcome.
Oh yes, I have been before.
Cool, awesome, and welcome back, Sarah. You've been on a couple of times, and Barry, you've been. I think you were here last week.
Yeah, last week was my first time.
Cool.
I was expecting my Model 3 between the 21st and the 30th.
Oh, yes.
Within a week, it's now back to the 6th to the 13th of July.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Wow, that's interesting.
And you assured me last week that being the end of the financial year, I would get it by the 30th, but apparently not.
Yes, well, the last week's YouTube video shows that I absolutely said that you will get it by the 30th at the latest because they all get done by the end of the quarter. Wow.
Yep. No, they put them back. It's not only me. I saw other people that have been put back the same.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I guess the good news is, even though you've been put back, it's still worth it, and you're going to forget that setback. Once you've got your car, you just won't care. It won't matter.
I've been waiting long enough. Another couple of weeks doesn't matter. Cool. I'm happy. I can just spend money on things ready.
Yes. Well,
so
and the good thing is you can stock up on all those things on Alibaba and eBay that all those accessories that you were looking at. You know, you can now get.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might go back to Charlene because you've just gotten your car. So tell us all about it. How was the delivery experience?
Very fast actually. I had delivered, yeah. I seriously, I reckon I was out of there in 15 minutes.
Oh, you were slow. You took too long. The Harry must
I'm
have
slow.
Must have been off their game.
That's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Normally 3 minutes.
Luckily, I'd had a test drive during COVID in January, and they basically just handed the car over for a whole hour. So I was on hand. So I picked up the car. It had 30% charge on it, which I thought was a little low, but all good. And I haven't had a chance to set up my charge, like a fast charge at home yet. So I'm plugging into old-fashioned power socket. But we're fine. I'm not doing a lot of case, so yeah, perfectly fine for day to day at the moment. But I've got some solar panels and batteries getting installed at home next week, and then the Zappy charger very close behind. So I think we'll be pretty well sorted. And I've been spending a lot of time on the accessory sites, getting my front pads and my trunk pads and my top boot pads, and so many accessories. It's lots of fun. Yeah, you can spend a lot of money, right?
Oh yes, I saw a gentleman came over with his performance Model 3, and he even had, there's like a little storage thing that goes under your center console lid that you can sort of hide stuff in there. He had like a secondary tray.
Already.
Oh, I think you should introduce Harold. I think you should introduce Richard Cooper, the accessories king for Tesla, WA.
Yes, Richard. Well,
you're a dag, Jared.
Where is he? Is he on?
He's there. He's
I'm
the one that says.
Oh, Richard. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to install a tow bar, then Richard's your man.
Okay.
He's actually got one of those accessories where your center screen actually swivels left and right.
I've seen that.
You don't take him an hour because you have to do it twice.
Has anyone got the ring yet? The ring that you can.
Yeah. I'm waiting for my third one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I lost the first one because it was a little bit big, so it's just hard to get the sizing right.
Yeah.
The second one fell apart during the second day. It just started laminating, so I sent it back, and I'm waiting for the third one. They just replaced it.
Oh, did you get the ceramic or the wood?
No, I got it from Tesla's. They only had the one option, which was the ceramic one, I think.
Oh, okay, that's no good. I mean, you'd think they'd last a bit longer than that, wouldn't you?
No, it was just the second one was faulty, that's all, and the first one I lost. So yeah, I'm hoping the third one will be lucky.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, like catching up with friends and just taking them for a spin, and just doing the well, not 0 to 100 in 3 seconds, but maybe 60 to 100 in 3 seconds. Bad. Yeah, I'm going to get a ticket. I'm trying really hard not to get a ticket.
That's right. I've had mine for 3 years now, and I'm finally getting my demerit points back from that first 6 months of owning the car. So it's not a unique experience.
It's all good. I borrowed my husband's car for 2 weeks before I got my delivery, and I got 2 tickets in his car because, you're driving someone else's car, you're not used to the speed and the feel, and luckily no demerit points, so I think I'll be okay for a while.
Yes, you just need to get it out of your system and then it'll be okay.
Do you ever? Do you think? I don't think I'll ever.
It never gets old, does it? Oh, actually, no. I think we get used to it pretty quickly. Just the impressiveness of the instant torque, the instant throttle response, the instant power, the overtaking people, so easily. It's when you get into an ICE car that you work out how crappy these things are and were, and you'd never go back ever again.
Yeah.
But you will get used to it. It's just just about that feeling. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think, all joking aside, I think my story, it's mostly about that initial pickup. It takes a little bit getting used to, and you find yourself speeding early, and you get better at moderating that initial takeoff. But yeah, but no, the performance never gets old.
Yeah, but
The
after
expression on the
18
face of guests in the car when you floor it for the first time, that never gets old either. I'd like to be able to record that if I can.
Yeah, after
Well,
18
yeah.
months, I still am not bored with the acceleration.
I'll tell you one setting that I activated a couple of weeks ago. There's a setting, if you go over a certain speed, it'll on your speeding. You're going 60 and you're into a 40 zone and you don't realise it starts beat slow. If I know down for some.
Sorry, Richard, you're breaking up there a little bit. You might just want to say that again. You're breaking up there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, there's a setting on the car where you can have it. So if you're speeding, it'll beep at you. But the nice thing about it only beeps 4 times, then it turns itself off. So it doesn't beep at you incessantly until you slow down. So it's just interesting. And you can set it, I've got mine set at 7 k's over the legal limit. So if I'm going 60 and I go into 50 zone, unbeknownst to me, it'll let me know.
It's more of a chime rather than a beep, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
but,
Yeah.
But it stops after 4, so it only goes for a couple of seconds and it stops, which is nice. So.
Yeah, I turned that off on day 2.
Yeah.
Too annoying.
I had it on for one day and I turned it off like, no, can't do that.
Not that we speed, Charlene, of course.
No.
No, it's in those places where the map's wrong and it doesn't actually know the correct speed limit, and that can be annoying.
Yeah, blame the maps. Just blame the maps.
There, I've got the another problem, not to do with speed, but the fact that my grandkids want me to park the car in their driveway so they can watch Netflix after school.
Oh.
The car's not moving. I'd like to move, but they won't let me.
Yeah, why can't we watch Netflix while we're driving? Surely we're grown-ups and...
No, I think that would be a road to disaster.
Actually, one little naughty pro tip for new owners is you can actually, if you have a passenger and the car is driving, you are allowed to play solitaire as in the passenger.
And the
You
doodling.
press a button that says, I am a passenger of the driver.
Yeah.
Just a little pro tip there.
And of course, you would only ever do that when you were the passenger.
Absolutely.
So can you tell me that you haven't been doing karaoke already? Because I've already had so much fun with that.
It's so good. No, I can't tell you that I have not played karaoke.
No, karaoke is awesome. That was the best reason to upgrade to MCU2 of any reason to upgrade to MCU2. For those of you who don't know, those of us who have old cars didn't get to do karaoke before. We had to buy an upgrade for it, and it was worth it.
I saw somewhere you can actually get a disco ball that you install in the car.
History's had them. It's an LED disco ball.
Brilliant.
That's bloody hilarious.
What every car needs, really. Seriously.
I'm going to order one of those tomorrow.
Now, Angela, so you're getting your car on Monday. So as you've already heard from Charlene, the delivery process is rather rapid. So
yes, I've been warned about that. Apparently they're under the pump at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes, they sure are. So it's a good place here to ask any questions you can possibly think of, and for us to suggest anything that you might not be able to think of. But basically, you'll be given 2 credit cards that are used to lock and unlock the car or start the car. But really, what they'll also do for you is learn your phone as a car key, as a phone key.
Yes.
And when you've got that, you then can basically ignore your 2 credit cards, your prox cards. But you can always keep one in your purse if you want as a spare in case you leave your phone at home or something.
The phone goes dead if the battery.
Or your phone goes dead, you drop it or it breaks or something like that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they're going to be pretty keen to welcome you out onto the road to enjoy your car. So
That's a bugger off.
yeah, that's a euphemism for please go away very quickly because we're busy.
Yes.
And we've got lots of test drives to do, and we've got lots of other cars to have collected by their excited owners. Good thing is, things like charging, there's nothing you particularly have to do in a hurry. So the car comes with a 10 amp and a 15 amp plug. Obviously, the 10 amp is the one you most likely use at home. And the good thing is that'll charge your car at about 120 kilometers overnight. And in a 24-hour period, if you left your car, on charge, it would be over 240 Ks that you would gain. Obviously, going to Denmark, you'd probably be going via the Eaton supercharger.
Probably, yeah.
Well, actually, would you be going by Albany on the Albany Highway or on the coastal way?
Well, I was going, I don't think Williams is open yet. When it's open, I think that would be the preferred route. It's a little bit quicker, but for where I live, it's actually only about 15-20 minute difference. It's all.
We went to Denmark recently and went down the Albany Highway and stopped and charged the Cogen up. That's I thought that was by far the better way.
Well, now this is an ideal opportunity to remind everyone, anyone new, that the first app you should install after the Tesla app, which by the way, you should install your Tesla app before you get there. Otherwise, Harry or Joel. Sorry?
I've got Tesla.
Awesome.
On here.
Okay, the next app you should install is PlugShare. So
yeah, I've got that.
Great. Okay, so initially what you should do is set your filters to supercharger, Tesla, and CCS. Now, if you don't see this symbol, the CCS, you've got to go show all for other plugs.
CCS.
So, CCS.
Yeah.
So you've got supercharger, Tesla, CCS. Then when you look, you can actually see in Western Australia where all those charging locations are. And there is the supercharger at Eaton, which is also shown on the map in your car. So when you look at your Navigate map, which you haven't seen yet, but when you do see it, it will have a icon that looks like a lightning bolt. And it will basically show the Eaton supercharger, which is looks like that. There are 6 charging locations,
looks like
6 charging stalls.
Looks like the one behind me.
Wow.
Now you'll also notice that there are 2 cables. So all you do for your car is pick the bigger one, the one that's got the bigger head, which looks more, and it doesn't matter if you pick the wrong one, it's just that it won't do anything. So you'll see a head that looks a little bit like this Type 2 one, and then you'll see one that looks bigger. It's got the same thing at the top and 2 extra bits at the bottom. That's the one you pick. But you can, if you wanted, you can actually go down Albany Highway and charge at the Cogenut fast DC charger.
Yeah.
So presuming or providing that your car is quite well charged. Oh, by the way, what car is it? I mean, what model, sorry?
The Model 3. The Model 3 standard range.
Cool. Okay. So for all new Model 3 standard range owners, one thing you can do too is when you charge your car, you can slide the battery level all the way to the right, which is up to 100%. And you can do that all day, every day when you're charging. For anyone that's buying or has bought or is getting a long range or a performance Model 3, then you just do it to the second last tick marker, which is the 90% mark. And we can get into why another time, because that's sort of a bit into the minutiae of why to do that. But Angela, so you can actually go either way to Denmark if you like, either via the supercharger, or you could actually go via Cogenut. It's entirely up to you.
Which needs one other app, which is the ChargeFox app.
Oh yes.
I've got that as well. It's okay.
Does it need the ChargeFox app to initiate, Ken?
It is. ChargeFox.
It's on
Yes,
ChargeFox,
it
but
does.
it might be free dispense. But yeah,
That's free, yes. So it costs you nothing, but you might need to use a ChargeFox app just to trigger it, just to start charging.
I think that's the case.
Yeah, can I just make a comment? I just came back from Albany on yesterday morning. I left at 5 in the morning, and one of the things that I picked up was that, and I stopped at Kojonup at 7 to top up, and then I stopped at Williams, and Williams does have a 12 kilowatt charger.
Yep.
But the thing that you need to be aware of is that at 5 o'clock in the morning in the low temperature, I was burning up 20 kilowatts per 100 kilometres instead of the usual 15. So in cold weather, you will burn up more gas, as it were.
Okay.
How old's your car, Tom?
The car's about 4 months old, done about 7,500, 8,000 kilometres.
I wonder if that's are you a friend? Does your VIN start with LRW?
I'd have to, I can tell you, hang on.
Yeah, just whip out your Tesla app and it'll show the VIN. Don't tell us the whole VIN, just the first 3 letters. It's LRW.
LRW3F7.
That's it. Don't need to tell us more. Because we've got YouTube people, obviously, that could stalk you. No, not really.
Right.
But that's interesting because your
That's
car
Richard
has a heat
Cooper.
pump, so it's a lot more efficient in heating. Were you punching into a headwind? Do you know?
I don't know, but I was sitting on 110, so I wasn't doing my usual 118 or something. So
you've got a performance or a long range?
Long range.
Long range. Okay, that's interesting.
Sorry,
I was just going to say you do get a little bit less range when you're doing the speed limit on the chippy southwest and northern roads. So if you're around town on a nice tarmac, you get really, really good efficiency. But when you're up north or down south or over east on the chip seal roads, that does erode some of your efficiency because of just all the road noise and the energy being lost in basically rolling resistance on those chippy roads.
But also, Harold, when the battery is cold, you actually it's not actually power that you're using, it's actually battery performance that you're losing because the battery is cold. So it'll indicate that you're using a lot of power, but in fact, what's happening is there was less available store in the battery because of the temperature rather than the additional use. So the computer is seeing it as larger use, but in fact, it's related to the fact that the battery's cold. So the tip there is if you're leaving on a cold morning, if you're able to plug in before you leave, do a little final charge just before you leave, and it'll warm the battery up a little bit so that you won't lose so much in that initial kickoff. So the car can actually do that for you. If you
can preheat the cabin as well while it's got it on charge.
Yeah, but so basically, it's not that your car is using more power; it's just that the battery was losing a bit of its oomph because of its temperature, and so it was indicating higher consumption. So yeah, if you're able to charge in the morning just before you leave, or you just go out or you just use your app to turn on the aircon, turning on the heating in the car while you're plugged into shore power will also warm the battery up as well. So yeah, that would make it go a bit better.
And even with the heat pump, it's actually more efficient to use the seat warmers rather than the cabin heater. So,
yeah, but if you turn on the HVAC, it'll warm the battery.
True. Yes. That's why you're still plugged in, but while you're on the road.
No, absolutely. I wouldn't do that once you've set off. But if you're on shore power, if you're plugged into a destination charger, it's kind of nice to just crank up the aircon. And that'll make the cabin nicer, but it will also have the handy feature that it'll make the battery warmer as well.
Yeah. Actually, that's the other issue in Albany is that there's no fast chargers. So it limits your ability to get out and about because it's going to take you quite a while to recharge. And of course, I stay at a what do you call it, a B&B down there, and they haven't quite caught up with the 21st century yet. I'm working on them.
There is a destination charger behind the library, which will get you 11 kilowatts, which technically counts as a fast charger. But you're right, there's no rapid charging in Albany at the moment.
Yeah, I did actually use that, and it was very good, and I was regularly able to get to it.
Yeah, that's a good little charger, that one.
Yep,
that one there. Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
And another tip, if you're charging, Angela, if you're charging at Eton, before you get to Eden, just put it as a navigation, put it as a destination in your in maps, and that way it will tell the car that you're going to a supercharger. So the car will automatically pre-condition your battery, so that when you get to the supercharger, the battery is going to be at the most ideal temperature for charging, and that way it will charge quicker.
Okay, great. Thanks.
So what you do, just to be precise, is you don't navigate to Eton as such. You select the Tesla, the supercharger icon. So again, unfortunately, I can't show you this because I don't have one in front of me. But when you see the navigation, the map, and you press on the little lightning bolt icon in the lower left-hand corner, it'll then bring up the closest destination chargers, and it'll actually bring up the supercharger. You just might have to pinch the screen and scroll it so you can hover over Bunbury, and you'll see a red pin, which is the supercharger pin. And then if you just click on that and then I think there's like a little symbol for navigate, and you just press navigate and you navigate to the supercharger. Then as Pete describes, it'll make sure your car is in the ideal condition to charge as fast as possible.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Also, another tip.
Yeah, carry on.
Sorry, just quickly. So that lightning bolt icon that Harold described, if you're looking for it on the map on the left-hand corner, you won't see it. You need to tap on the screen anywhere on the map, and then it comes up. So it's hidden till you tap on the screen, and then it comes up. And is it the top one, Harold? Do you remember? No, it's the bottom one, I think. Out of the three icons on the left.
Yes, it's the bottom one. Yes, the top one is a stylized globe, like with latitude and longitude markings, which changes the map from being a map to an aerial photo format, a bit like Google does. The center one it looks like a 2-light traffic light, and that indicates your traffic conditions. So Google Maps has the same thing, where it shows where there's congestion or normal flow, and that's just a visual thing. And then the bottom one is a lightning bolt. So just click on the lightning bolt, tap on the red supercharger symbol at Eton, and then navigate to it. And that's even and that particularly works if you're nearby, because it will do its best to warm the battery as quickly as it can, so that you can charge your car as quickly as it can be charged. But if you've come from Perth, it'll probably be fine because you've had 150 Ks of the battery warming up.
Yes.
But Harold, it could be too warm, or it could be it could be under or over. Yeah. And that way you'll know that it's definitely at the ideal temperature when you get there.
Yeah. So tell me, just out of interest, what would be the difference in speed to if I stopped at Kojonup or if I stopped at Eton? In the two, I mean, one's a supercharger, the other one's I think 250, is it?
Yes, the Eton will be by far faster. However, it's a bit relative because you've driven further to get to Kojonup.
Yes.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
you'd have to. I don't know. We have to do a few extra calculations to try and work that out. It's impossible to tell off the top of your head. But I think that Eton ought to be. Look, it's probably similar. So really, it's up to you. It's personal preference. If you prefer to go the coastal route or go inland, whether you want to. If you're curious to see your first supercharger ever, then by all means go to Eton. But
Yeah.
if you prefer to go Albany Highway, then you can certainly go to Kojonup.
As far as the two charges are concerned, once you're there, then the Eton one will be nominally it's 5 times, well, at least 3 times, faster than the Kojonup one. So the Kojonup one's 50 kilowatts compared to 150 kilowatts. So the Eton one will charge a lot faster. Angela, have you got your app yet on your phone?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, but you don't have the car on it yet, have you? Obviously, it hasn't.
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. I was so might be worthwhile just in case Joel didn't put my referral code on because it hasn't come up on my app as I mentioned. So you probably won't get it on your app either, which means that you might want to hook up your credit card to your app because otherwise if you don't have the free supercharging, actually I think it gives you the first one. I think is that right, Harold? I think the first time it lets you off.
I'm not sure.
No, it doesn't let you off. What it does is it gives you the charge and then it tells you can't have any more until you put your number in. Because I discovered that when I went to Bustleton the first time. Just to comment on the relative speed, the supercharger goes something above 55 kilowatts an hour, maybe 80, 70. It certainly doesn't climb up over 100 with my long range, and the one at Codger Place works at about half that, about 38 to 45.
Right.
And it's all relative. It depends on a number of factors. So your state of charge is a big one, but temperature of your battery is another one.
Well, I get all that, but both times that I've been to both of those, I've obviously been at a reasonably low charge, like something between sort of 20 and 50. So and they all slow down when they get to 80.
Oh, yes.
But if you're doing your first trip down, I would go to Williams and top up, because then you know what you've got. And then I would go to Codger Place and I'd top right up, because when you get to Albany or Denmark, you're going to have a while to top up because everything down there is quite slow. And we just spent a weekend down there and we didn't go from Albany to Denmark or out to Mount Barker or anything like that, because we knew we were going to have to spend 2 hours in a charge station to fill up again. So it's particularly to build confidence, you need to top up everywhere you go, because otherwise you might be lose your confidence, I guess.
That's a good point. In terms of that charging, I was at UWA today, and that charger was charging between 39 and 42 kilowatts. Up until I got to 80%, but once I got to 80%, it went to between 48 and 49 and even touched 50. So it obviously must have been, and I drove all the way from Joondalup. Actually, I was in Kings Park and I was there for a little while. But then I went to UWA, so it must have taken, 15 minutes for the battery to warm up. But once it got to 80%, the charge rate actually jumped closer to 50. So
can you just tell me have you got an RFID card? Because I haven't been able to use ChargeFox. Okay. So I've applied for an RFID card. Yeah. Okay. Because that's just around the corner for me.
And you don't have to apply for the UW. You can use any RFID card as long as you tell them the number of the card and put that on the application. They can link up. So it can be your
I've got a Fox one.
Your transport, Smart Rider or whatever,
Yeah, okay.
What's an RFID card?
It's just a like a smart card. So like your Smart Rider that you use for your buses. It's one of those, and they just need a number so they can. You don't have to pay for it; it's free. But
it's one of these.
For example, Alex has got one. He's got the ChargeFox one that he's showing you there.
One of these. This is what you basically, you just go to chargefox.com/charge/RFID, and you'll be able to sign up there, and it's completely free. So
okay, thank you.
No problems at all.
But if you already have a smart rider, you can use that, it'll you just but we're only just talking about the UWA charger, where UWA requires that. For most of the other ChargeFox chargers, you can just use the app and you don't need a card, although it doesn't hurt to have one. Just on timing, while you've been talking, I've been playing with Better Route Planner. It reckons Kojanup is much faster than Eaton. So even though the different charge rate, you'll probably only need 25 minutes, half an hour at Kojanup, and then you can keep going. So the difference in charging isn't going to be. Hang on, I can share the screen.
In defense of the supercharger, it is a really good-looking charger.
Yeah.
It is worth taking a few minutes to have a look at it. It is really good-looking charger.
But apart from the looks, I would actually make the point, Ken, that a better route planner will only take into consideration how much Angela needs to charge basically to get there. But if she's looking to charge all the way to 100%, which you might as well do if you're going down to Denmark and you haven't got all your charging options all sussed out yet, then the Eaton one might be a bit closer. If you're charging more, you will catch up a few minutes.
If you're stopping for lunch, it doesn't matter. But I would rather just cover less distance, and the difference in charge rate is probably not going to be material, I guess, is the point on an SR Plus.
I don't know, Ken. I'd rather get to Denmark by going north and just keep going clockwise until I got to the other side myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I always want to go home the long way.
Listen to the show off.
Well,
another thing you guys can help me with is I want to get some rubber mats for the car before I go too far, because otherwise I'll end up with the dirty carpets. Where's the best place to get that?
It sounds like a segue to Richard Cooper.
There
he is, Richard Cooper.
Yeah, no, I've just got the standard carpet mats that came with the Performance. They're great.
Oh, I've got one up on Richard. Hang on. I've got to get my word.
I did get a boot mat last week, so that's cool. A rubber boot mat. Yeah.
So with the mat, Angela, I first bought the original Tesla mats from Tesla, and they were good, but the one it missed one bit that it goes underneath the center console, and I found that that's where whenever anyone sat in the back, that's all the rubbish and everything hit the carpet there. So I didn't like that. I ended up getting a third-party mat, which was a lot lighter and a lot easier to take in and out, and a lot easier to clean. And so I got those from Tesla's, but Tessera's is another Australian-based one. There's a few of them, but yeah, I actually found the third-party ones actually better than the original Tesla ones. But if anyone wants the original Tesla one secondhand, I've got some.
Can you give some of those sites where we can get these from?
Yeah, so just for completeness, what Pete mentioned there was Tesla's. Is this the site, Pete?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, tesloz.com.
It's a Mexican site, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's Australian. The guy's from Sydney or Melbourne.
And Tessera's is where I got my last lot of stuff. They were very good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both Australian.
Tessera's is where I got my stuff too. So.
Lots of accessories.
The guy from Tesla's, his name's Brian. There's the ring, by the way. Yeah, and he was really good with replacing the ring. I sent in an email and explained that it was coming apart, and 15 minutes later he rang me and organised the exchange. So yeah, can't get better service than that.
So sorry, what ring are you talking about, Pete?
Oh no, just a ring. So yeah, that's the one there. So it replaces your card or your phone, and you can just tap it on the one thing. See how it's got the correct graphic there? That never works, by the way. If you have your ring like that, it's too far from the sensor. It doesn't pick it up. So you've actually got to do it the wrong way. The reason why they've got the two above denoted as error is because they don't want you scratching the glass or the ring. So I open it either of the two ways above, but I'm just careful not to hit it too hard when I use it.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick aside, you see, you need to have a short finger like mine, which would be ideal.
There he is, showing off again.
So I'm Tesla approved.
Dear, brand new. Can I ask you a question about a fully self-driven feature? I'm actually getting so excited to buy these, subscribe for these. Can anyone share their personal experience if you have one, please?
Well, okay, so you don't have full self-driving yet?
Not yet.
So you've got autopilot, and that's
Correct.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, at the moment, what you basically get today, as we speak, is recognition of traffic lights. So if you're driving along and the traffic lights turn red, the car will stop at the traffic lights. You come across a stop sign, give way, a stop sign. I'm not sure about give way signs. I think some it does, some it doesn't. And come up to a roundabout, it will also automatically stop at the threshold of the stop sign or roundabout. That's something it does today. If you're driving through in traffic and you see and it sees a green light at the intersection, it'll give you like a little warning chime, and then it just expects you to confirm on the autopilot stalk that yes, you're aware and you want it to proceed. Now, when you're driving along an autopilot, say on the freeway, and you want to change lanes, at the moment you have to basically click off autopilot and change lanes. With full self-driving, so let's just call it, with $10,000, you can then just momentarily tap the indicator stalk, and it will then automatically change lanes for you, provided that just before you did the stalk, it would touch the stalk, you also had a minor grip on the steering wheel, just a little, so it knows your hand is there. But it will actually perform the lane change all by itself with your initiation. The other thing you can do is, say you've navigated from here to somewhere else, and you're on the freeway, and that involves the car getting off the freeway to continue its navigation journey. Well, it will actually magically leave the freeway. It will actually put the indicator on by itself and get on the off ramp and get off the freeway, and then convert to what's called just ordinary autopilot. That feature I just described is navigate on autopilot. So it'll basically usually pick the correct lane to be in and transition off the freeway or major highway and carry on with its journey. The other thing it can do is automatic parallel parking, which in my personal experience works really well. And it can also do automatic perpendicular parking, such as reversing into a parking spot, which in my experience it does less well. You can also do enhanced summon, which if you want to, you can have it in the car park, let's say 30, 40 meters away from you, parked, and you can be some distance away, and on your phone, you basically tell it to come to you, and it will drive all by itself with no one in the car to where you are. I'd say it would do that many times, not all the time. Sometimes it gets stuck and you've got to run after it to rescue it. And that looks quite funny because there's this car in the middle of the road and it's having a conniption. And I think that's about it for the time being. But the other thing that $10,000 buys you is all the future features that will come in the following months and years will cost no more. Even if that involves Tesla having to replace your computer because they sometime in the future find it needs an upgrade or something to do full self-driving, which in theory is you do not have a driver's license and you're in the back seat, or in fact, there's no one in your car, you're out somewhere at the pub and you summon your car from your house to the pub. You then hop in the back door, lay on the back seat, and the car drives you home.
Wow.
That's what full self-driving actually means. What Tesla is calling full self-driving is what that will eventually be.
Yeah, they're calling it full self-driving capability.
Yeah.
It has the eventual capability to be able to do that.
Yeah. So have you guys have you used it? Any one of you?
Yeah, all the time. Actually, Harold, you mentioned that parallel parking works well for you in your experience. Mine has been, look, it's actually probably as good, if not better, than what most drivers would be able to do.
Yep.
With the exception of I managed to get it to freak out earlier today. I'll try and share my screen. I actually ended up recording it. I've never had this happen before. It was just a really odd situation, but I'll see if I can share my screen and see if it comes up. Hang on, just talk about it amongst yourselves. Not sure how to do it on the iPad.
No, that's all right. So further to that, the good news is at the moment it costs 10,000 Australian dollars, $10,100.
Yes.
In the US, it actually costs 10,000 US dollars, and that's because they're closer to some potential upgrading features, so they pay more than we are at the moment. The good thing is you don't have to worry that you're going to wake up in the morning and the price will have gone up without you being told about it. You will get probably a few days notice to decide to do it. Okay, here's Pete's video.
Can you see it's freaking out?
Wow, that's really, yeah. So, it's going back. Yeah. Now should be turning the other way.
And yeah, it just started going a bit nuts.
Yeah, right. Oh, you can even see the wiggle lines. Yeah, right. That's really having a connection.
Yeah. Basically had an epileptic fit.
I was just going to say.
Oh.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah.
But that's the first time that's ever happened. 9 times out of 10, like I said, it's as good, if not better, than an average driver, and faster as well, I would say. So,
right.
And you weren't recording that, you touching your phone at all, were you, Pete? Somebody else was recording that for you.
Absolutely. Nigel, how'd you know?
Well, I just saw someone that was over your shoulder there.
Oh, yes, you're a lot more clever than I am.
It was actually it was on private property, no doubt.
No, it was all very safe, but like I said, it freaked me out when it first happened. And it ended up, I just let it go, by the way, just to see what it would do. And it ended up parking itself in the end. So it sorted itself out. And then I did another, which was a perpendicular park a few hours later, and did it almost perfectly. So, yeah, it was just a odd situation. That's AI for you, I suppose.
Oh, great. So for autopilot to activate, do we have to do anything while we are driving, or does it do it spontaneously?
No, so you need to. So the first thing you need to do is go into just to make sure that you can activate autopilot. Mm-hmm. Go into your menu, which is a little car symbol on the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah.
Press that.
Mm-hmm.
Then go into autopilot.
Yeah.
And the top 2 menu items, the top 2 switches, are autopilot and full self-driving, enhanced full self-driving visualization or something like that. The most important one is autopilot.
Yeah.
To make sure that's turned on.
Yeah.
And you can only do that while the car is parked. You can't do it while you're in motion.
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, I'm not that familiar, Pete, it's the right-hand stalk that you...
Double click.
Yeah, you press it down twice. It's got a detent. You can go past the detent if you want, but you don't have to. But yeah, just tap it twice and that engages autopilot.
Tap means a right stroke, is it? Right side stroke?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
So, and you can only do that. You'll actually see symbols which look like a steering wheel.
Right.
And the other symbol is a speed limit sign, which will tell you that the car is ready to either do autopilot or traffic aware cruise control. So if that sort of disappears, because say if there's insufficient marking on the roads, like there's no lane markings, then you won't be able to engage autopilot. But as soon as it sees appropriately marked part of the road, it'll be like a grey colour will come up on the screen. And then when you do a double click, it will turn blue. And then you'll actually see two blue lines either side of your lane where your car is shown on the screen. And that will then be an autopilot.
So that is a confirmation sign further. If there are two lines either side parallel, then that means it is.
And you'll hear like a little ding ding, like a bit like a USB stick being put into a computer.
Right.
And in fact, when it disengages, it does the opposite of like a USB being pulled out of a computer.
Right.
One thing that's critical to remember is autopilot cannot go through roundabouts unless you've got the full self-driving feature.
Even then, it still can't, Harold.
Oh, sorry. I mean, sorry. If you approach a roundabout with autopilot, it may just drive right through and not care. At least
no, it will just start. You'll get a big red steering wheel on the screen, and it will start beeping at you, and it will start freaking out, asking you to take over.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I've had my car.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, shut up, Siri. I was scratching myself and had the watch too close to my face.
It's always there. Okay, so the main thing is the autopilot is basic, or not standard autopilot. It's only suited on open roads. If you come to an intersection, autopilot won't do the right thing. So it will happily go through a red light at an intersection if you're the first car there.
Right.
If you are following a car and the lights turn red or that car slows down even to a stop, then your car will perfectly safely follow behind it. But in full self-driving visualization, when you buy full self-driving or the $10,000 thing, then it will actually stop at red lights, confirm to go through green lights, and also stop at stop signs,
on the mark,
some give way signs, and other stuff as well.
And
Hey,
roundabout.
Harold, you might want to mention about the subscription idea with.
Yes. So the other thing too is that it has been announced and confirmed that Tesla will be doing a subscription version of full self-driving, which, look, in Australian dollars might be something like $300 a month rather than paying 10K. So you could choose to just rent it or subscribe to it casually. There was some code we mentioned last week that's been looked into, and it might be the case where you could possibly buy full self-driving or rent it for a trip, or maybe on weekends, or something like that. We're not sure. So the other alternative is just to pay for it as you go, which might be handy if you turn over your car more often. If you intend to flick your car every couple of years, it might be a better way to go.
But also, I think you have resale value if you do have already, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those weird things. Let's just say you bought a 4-year-old secondhand Tesla that didn't have full self-driving, and you paid a half of its brand new price. To get full self-driving, you still can, but you've got to pay the whole $10,000. You don't sort of pay $5,000 because it's already 4 years old. So in a sense that the software doesn't depreciate, or at least, well, its value, the car value depreciates. If you wanted to replace the software or buy software today, if you didn't have it, you got to pay the whole $10,000.
And by the way, just to pick up, good luck trying to get a 4-year-old Tesla at half the price. Fortunately, they don't depreciate like that.
Yeah.
But like normal cars, but
In 2019, I bought my full self-driving for $5,000.
You bought a what, sir?
In 2019, when I bought my Model S, I had to pay only $5,000 for full self-driving.
Yes, yeah. No, it started at that price. Then it went to, I paid 7,100. Then it went to, what did it go
I paid
up to?
40 cents for my first can of Coke. Welcome to the world.
Actually, Sam, there is a bit of a difference because you paid $5,000 for full self-driving, but if you'd bought your car secondhand, the person that had it actually paid.
I bought it brand new.
Oh, you bought it new?
Yeah.
Because right. So did you buy full self-driving?
Yeah, at the same time when I bought the car.
Because I think I paid. Is Ken here? No, Ken's left us. But I paid many thousands of dollars just for autopilot in 2017.
I don't know. They charged me $5,000 over the,
Okay. All right. Well, perhaps that was a better deal at that time. But yeah, now it is. Autopilot's included, and it's $10,000. So you just got to pick your poison as to whether you think that's worth it or not. And like I said again, if you're going to flip your cars fairly often, then it might actually make more sense just to use the subscription model, because most people aren't. You're not really going to get more money because it has full self-driving. People that know will go, that's a bonus, but you're never really going to get that value back on a second-hand car. But if you keep your car for 5, 6, 7 years, then obviously it would be cheaper just to pay for it up front.
And during one of the last meeting, I heard there is a code or something. If you key that in, we should be able to get some discount. Did I heard it right or wrongly?
No. So there's for Tesla's shop, there are discount codes coming for people that registered. And what I'll be doing for new members, sending that email out again, or for them it's the first time, and you get a 20% discount on apparel. So in other words, clothing. So if we look up Tesla's, and it's a one-time use only, which I'm pretty sure that'll be in the email that Tesla sends to everyone that's registered. So if you look at Tesla's shop here, unfortunately, the discount doesn't apply to any spare parts or accessories. It's only on apparel. So you got t-shirts, jackets, hats, onesies for little kids and stuff like that. So, for the 20% off, $55.
Harold, I believe Richard Cooper's bringing out his own range. Coming out soon. His
we
own
need
apparel.
to ban Jared or me from this forum, one of us.
Well, is that like RCM, Richard Cooper Mods or something?
That's it.
RC Apparel.
It's going to be a one-arm t-shirt range that he's bringing out. So,
one-armed
t-shirt range.
Hey, Harold, got some breaking news courtesy of Rob Dean. So we were talking about, someone mentioned that they're not getting their car till July. May know the reason why. So Rob just sent me a screenshot of Vita Prime's Twitter feed, and I'll read it out to you. There is a 4th ship coming to Australia. It will be here next week. They were right-hand drive Teslas built in Shanghai in late May. This is something new. This will be a record quarter for Australia. Hashtag Model 3 AU.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic. So I remember at the start of the year, we were sort of thinking that, well, we figured that Perth, that Western Australia had a fleet of about 1,000 Teslas at the end of last year. And we predicted that by the end of this year, that would be basically replicated. Going by that tweet, it sounds like that might be conservative. And we haven't even gotten into the Model Ys yet.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. So Barry, it's a shame you've got to wait a bit extra, but you're waiting because so many others have got orders in front.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, well, I ordered mine in March.
Yes. Yep.
Richard
And yours is a
ordered-
long range, Barry?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Tell them how long you waited, Richard. How long did you wait for yours?
1,309 days.
A concentration camp.
I waited 3 weeks, that's all.
I waited 6 months.
Well,
Wow.
there was
You're
a
all wimps.
quarter who waited 4 days because he basically went to Tesla on a Thursday, I think it was a Thursday or Friday, not actually expecting to buy the car, and then on an educated whim just ordered one. It just happened there was a cancellation, someone's finance didn't go through, and this gentleman got his car on the 30th of March, only 4 days later. So only had to wait 4 days.
Well, I've actually waited 5 years, really, because I put my order down and paid the $6,000 deposit for the Model X in late 2014, but then ended up deciding to wait for the Model 3 instead, and then only waited 3.5 years for the Model 3. but yeah, all up, more than 5 years.
How much interest could you have done, Pete?
Oh.
How much interest could you have made with that $6,000 sitting in?
How many Tesla shares because you got? Let's face it.
If he'd have bought Tesla shares, he would have made enough to have bought the car.
And some. Yeah.
True.
But in that 3.5 years, I watched every YouTube video on Model 3. I knew everything. I got the car and went, holy shit, I know nothing.
I've got this app open, the PlugShare app, and I just wondered, it's got things that you have ticked, for instance, public stations, in-use stations, requires fee, all of that stuff.
Yep.
What do you...
Okay, if you have a look on the screen, what you need when you get your car is, if you look at filters, which is that sort of... Yep.
That's what I'm looking at.
So you need supercharger.
I know, I've done that.
Yep,
Yeah.
Tesla and CCS.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, I've done that.
when it gets to networks, don't worry about that. And include, it'll say payment required, restricted locations, residential, coming soon, or currently in use. Actually, you can untick the coming soon because that's kind of misleading because it's not here now. And restricted, well, you can just untick that because usually it means it's for private use or it's restricted on hours of the day.
Sure.
The rest of the settings you don't really have to worry about. What you should do is when you look at it, you should see a map that looks something like this when you zoom out to Western Australia.
No, Angela's got
I'm
the
wondering-
app up. So Angela,
I'm wondering if I've got an old version.
No.
Because,
No,
it's quite different.
You've got the app on your phone, which is slightly different.
It's different
So,
on the computer.
yeah, so on the app, when you're in the map, you'll have in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll have a funnel icon, a blue and white funnel. Icon. Yeah, that's the one you've pressed, I think. Yeah. So in that one, the first one says show traffic. So you might want to have that one on. Show scale, you can leave that on. And where it has the location filters, so public locations, I would definitely have that one on. The next one says home charges. I would turn that off. But just remember that it's there in case for some reason you're in an emergency where you're running out of charge. Then you can turn that on in case you have to. Yeah, exactly. So Harold's got it up on the screen now. So you can turn home charges off. So he's got his home charges turned off. And then
quite different. So I just don't know. Maybe I've got an old version, or
it is smaller.
no, it's gone.
Let's have a look.
Just a bit. You need longer arms. There you go.
There we are.
Yeah, that's a Google. That's a.
Oh, it's an Android version.
Android.
That's what.
But it's very similar though, Angela.
Okay. No, that's all right. I just wondered. I thought. And the other thing that came up recently is and just as a point of interest, if you like, for anybody that doesn't live around Perth, when we travel and go to the airport, I used to park my car at the airport and, come back and not have to worry. But now, of course, with an electric car, you park at the airport, you come back and especially if I've had to drive from Williams to the airport, I'm a little bit concerned that they wouldn't have any charge left.
Okay, so how long would you be away for, roughly? A week or a month?
Well, no, a month.
Okay.
Don't leave the AC on.
Yeah. There's a couple of technical things. If you're in a secure area, like a secure parking area, then you can turn off what's called sentry mode.
Yeah.
Because that will consume 6 kilometers a day, roughly. So that can add up if you're away for a month. And by the way, sentry mode is where the car uses its cameras, and if anyone comes close to your car, or a car comes close to your car, a moving car, it'll record a clip that shows that activity. The penalty is that your full self-driving computer needs to be active and the cameras need to be on, and it needs to be monitoring things, and that takes energy. So that's one thing you would want to turn off if you're parking your car at the airport for any length of time.
Yeah.
Having said that, if your car did get quite low in charge because you'd forgotten to do this, it will only get to about 20%, and then it would stop wasting this energy, and then it would probably be okay for many, many, many weeks, if not.
Harold, what do you do if it runs totally flat?
Well, you
call John Edwards.
Yeah, you can. Well, it would never actually be completely. Well, yeah, it could be completely flat. So look, in extreme, you would get your car flatbedded to a power point, or to anywhere where there's power, basically. I mean, obviously, if you're going to get it flatbedded, you might as well get it flatbedded to a fast DC charger nearby, or to any source of power, and then start charging it. In extreme, that's the extreme case. It's a little bit like a petrol car. If you've run out of petrol and there's no jerry can or something, you just get it towed to a petrol station.
Will we have any support from the Tesla roadside assistance?
Yes, there is. Tesla do have roadside assistance, and I believe that you get one free tow if you're flat.
Right.
I think they still do that.
And that'd be limited kilometers how far away you were.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
It's mainly metro area.
Metro, yeah.
Yeah. I think technically it's 150 k's or 50 k's out of metro area or something like that. I think.
So you can't actually tow the car? Isn't there like a tow screw?
You can tow it.
Yes, you
Can
can.
tow it.
Look,
And you can actually recharge while you're towing it.
The off-label method, and there's some crazy YouTube videos. One of the classic ones is from Eastern Europe in about 2016 or so, where if you flat tow a car that's quite depleted but not dead, in the way that, you know, when you're driving along and you take your foot off the accelerator and it regenerates, you don't need the brake, it basically slows down. But what you do is you flat tow the car with a tow rope, have it in drive, you take your foot off the accelerator, and you'll put, if the tow car is strong enough, you can put up to 50 kilowatts of charging into your car as you drive along, or as you are being pulled along.
That's about as fast as the coaching up charger, by the way.
Yes. So, and it's actually it's a relatively safe tow because it's a little bit, it's like lightly tapping your brakes while you're being towed, which means the tow rope's nice and tight, and there's no danger of, if the car in front puts their brakes on for whatever reason, you know, moderately, there's no way you'll ever inadvertently go into the back of them, because the car is pulling back at 50 kilowatts of force, or equivalent force, because it's regenerating that energy into the battery. And I think for every kilometre that you get towed, I think you gain roughly 10 kilometres of range.
If I can make a slightly more practical suggestion, if you're at Perth Airport and it goes flat, then I'd suggest you ring RAC, and they'll flatbed you to their ultra charger in Wellington Street, and you'll be on the road in an hour. So, you know, I use the ultra charger today in Wellington Street. There's two chargers there. They were both working, and it was very easy. You could walk across and have a Japanese lunch and come back to a fully charged car.
What speed did you get, Tom?
It was about 55 or 60. It wasn't, you know, it's the same as what you get with the supercharger down south. It's pretty much the same. We were pretty flat. We were down around 25%, and we cranked it up to 82. When we got to 81 or 82, for some reason it dropped to 2 kilowatts. So we said Barleys and went home, because we can get 2 kilowatts at home. So.
And what was the charge for that, Tom?
Well, it's 40 cents a kilowatt hour, and we're RAC members, so we pay about 32 cents, I think. And Kristen just yelled at me it was $10. She got slugged. Yeah. So, you know, $10 for best part of a tank of juice beats the hell out of Ampol. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
And at Perth Airport, the Perth Airport security parking, which is where I used to leave my ICE cars, I think it's at the domestic terminal, will plug your car in for a while just to give it some charge so you can get home. It's only at the domestic airport, I think, because they've got a parking spot near a plug. But you've got to speak to them about it first. And if you're going international, leave it there and then Uber it around to the international.
Sure.
That's not going to be an issue for a while, though. You've got a bit more time on that one.
Unless you get the jab. I got the jab a couple of days ago. I've
got my second one coming up.
And another thing to think about is I suppose it'll be a trade-off, because if you're away from the car, you'll be tempted to check your app to see how much charge you've got left in your car. And but every time you check your app, you wake up the car, and every time you wake it up, it stays awake for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or whatever the time is. So if you're doing that frequently, it will use up a little bit more juice. But you can always check through the app to see how much charge it has. And, you know, worst case, if you find you're getting, you know, below 10% or what have you, and if you've, you know, got a friend or someone that can, you know, that you can leave the key with, or you can give them access to through their app, maybe they can go and charge it for you and bring it back or what have you. That's another option.
Yeah.
As okay. Worst case scenario. Yeah.
Harold, I just wanted to say good night. I think it's been a great thing tonight, and we owe you a spare tyre. So Kristen will ring you tomorrow to make a time to drop it back.
Yeah, no worries at all. Anytime, Tom. It's all good. I trust you. You just carried around, didn't need it, so that's all good. That's
of
the best
course,
spare, isn't it? The one you never use.
Yeah.
No worries. Total pleasure, Tom.
See ya.
See ya. Cheers. That's also a reminder. That's a great reminder of Tom. That a great thing of being a member of the club is that you get to use things like spare tires, charging cables, adapters, puncture repair kits, and other things as one of the reasons why you've parted with the $20 a year. You get to use all these things for free for road trips. Although I guess, Angela, technically you literally are a continuous road trip because you're in Denmark, but
that's right.
but
if any of you come down here, you'll have to let me know.
but for instance, if you were to embark on a road trip, say to Carnarvon, then you're more than welcome to collect a spare tire on the way or some charging equipment as well. So it's all good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yep.
No worries. So has anyone got any other questions or comments at this stage?
I do.
I have some.
Oh,
you go.
Oh, you
okay,
go
Jared, you
first.
go first, and then we'll go to Nigel.
The performance Model 3 that I've got a bit of a problem. It only does the 3 seconds to 100 kilometers, which is a bit of an issue because I've now seen the Model S live, and I'm about to order one of those. Yeah, I think I'm completely sold on a Model S because I think 2 seconds is more me than 3 seconds.
And also, you want to get the special badge as well.
Yeah, there's definitely the special badge, but I was extremely impressed by that Elon Musk show the other day. I think that car is amazing, absolutely amazing.
What's really got me, Jared, talking about the acceleration, and some of the YouTubers that got to take it for a spin were mentioning this as well. That acceleration curve, where it keeps the power at roughly about 1,000 horsepower, right up to about 200 miles an hour or whatever. There it is right there, 180, 200 miles an hour, and they were saying, so Ryan McCaffrey was saying he's got a Model 3 Performance, and he said, you feel that torque where you get pushed back into the seat, and in the Model 3 Performance, you feel it for the first few seconds, and then it starts to taper off, which is those, probably those wide curves there. But the new Plaid is just going to keep pushing you back in that in that seat.
Yeah, I think it would be definitely that. Definitely. I don't know if you get a helmet with it when you buy it. I think that's going to be an optional extra to get the helmet. But,
well, you got to get special wheels if you want to go the top speed.
I put 5 people in my car, fairly big guys in my car the other day, and we were down a quiet country road and just gave it a bit of a boost, and they were thrown back in it and they couldn't believe it. They were just 5 blokes in a car and they just could not believe that they were getting thrown back in this car.
Harold,
I can only imagine what the S will do. So,
Harold, at the beginning of the night, I sent you a YouTube link on the chat that you just got to show. You've got to show Jared if he's got 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, I've always got 2 minutes.
Yes.
And by the way, Jared, as soon as you get the Plaid, the Roadster with the SpaceX package is going to come out, and then you'll say you're not really a 2-second guy, you're more of a 1-second guy.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what's going to happen. By the time I get it, which will probably be about 3 years, I think it's end of 2022 that they're saying. But
yes, at the earliest.
Add another 6 months on top of that, Harold?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'll have the Cybertruck before then. So
just watch the video. The last car he passes is a McLaren Senna, which is one of the fastest cars you can buy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit glitchy, but
where's this, Richard?
Laguna Seca.
Oh yeah.
And it's one modified by Unplugged Performance, so it's It's got some suspension and stuff on it.
That's nuts.
So there's the center's the yellow one, which is one of the fastest cars you can buy. But you watch when he goes around this corner.
Oh yes, he just kills him.
You just watch this. This is ridiculous.
Woohoo! Bye
bye.
That's it.
And
that's
that's
the
in
one.
a five-door sedan.
Yeah,
that is. With an extra optional 2 seats in the boot.
It's a soccer mum's car, you know. Take the kids to soccer.
I think the price is about $250,000, 250,000 Australian.
225, isn't it?
220. I thought it was 250.
On road? I don't know. Look it up,
Harold.
Harry.
Yeah.
Harold, you're the money man.
On it.
The price will change by the time it comes out, though.
It just went up 10 grand, didn't it?
Not if you order now.
It just went up 10
true.
grand.
If you order now, it's going to say the same. True.
And on that note, is the price not increasing if you order it? I was just giving Pete a little wink there.
Go to Plaid.
The price came down with the last
$237,189.
$237. Yeah, there you
So
go.
it's $50,000 worth of tax. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So luxury car tax is only $33,000 and stamp duty is only $14,500.
That's if you don't get the mats. If you get the mats, it's a bit more. Don't get the mats.
And
or change the colour.
Change the colour.
And the interesting thing is the Model Y Plaid, which is not quite as fast, is actually cheaper than that at the moment. If you go to the Model Y,
the Model X Plaid.
Model X, yeah.
Yeah, actually, let's just go back to Tesla, and we'll just check that thesis.
I'm gonna say good night, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Angela.
Oh, you're very welcome, Angela. Have a wonderful experience on Monday. You will enjoy it. Your car's awesome, and just enjoy it. And you're welcome back anytime at all.
Thanks very much.
You won't
Good
look
to
bad.
meet you.
No worries. Take care.
All the best, Angela. Good luck.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for your help.
Okay, guys, I have to leave as well. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you. See you next time.
Good
No
night.
worries.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to the Model X. If we order that now, because we're in an ordering mood.
220.
220. Yeah. You boys will just pay the extra bit more. Go back to my policy. Cry hard and cry once.
It's a bit slow for you, Jared. It's only 2.6, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's way too slow for me. No.
Yeah.
I'm a 2-second man. I reckon I'd lose my license in 2 seconds too.
Bearing in mind that if you look at the Roadster and it's off-label, well, they're saying 1,000-kilometre range. That's kind of all right. And 2.1 seconds, but the SpaceX package is about 1 second.
Yeah, right.
But it's going to be a lot of
1.1.
That's nice, but I like the S. I like the S better.
Yeah, look, the
You
S,
wouldn't be able to tow with that.
You could put half of one of your mates in the back.
It's a bigger car, isn't it, Harold? Like it's 10% bigger all around.
Oh, it's a bit more than that,
No,
actually. To be honest,
the Roadster is actually the same width as the Model S, but it's about a foot shorter.
I don't think we have dimensions. It'd take a bit too long to find the dimensions. No, it is bigger, Jared. It's significantly wider. The internal cabin is not that much of a difference, but the back seat accommodation is much better on the S. So
Yeah, he was saying that.
gaining width.
Yeah.
Oh, and you also, difference between a 3 and an S is you've got the hatchback.
Yeah, right.
Yes. So it's much not. You can store more stuff.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about the Roadster and the Model S.
Oh no, sorry. So no, Jared was going S and
Model 3.
Model 3.
Oh yeah. No, Model S is definitely wider. Yeah.
Yeah.
And longer. Yeah.
But yeah. But if you want comfort, you can go that the X, which is 2.6 seconds, the Plaid X, and they're huge.
That's 6 seconds too short for me.
Oh dear.
Once you've had 3 seconds, you want 2.
Well, there is, of course, a much superior vehicle to all of those.
Yeah.
You know,
I've ordered that.
Yeah, well, you got to be waiting some time like the rest of us, because Pete has got an order, I've got an order, Ken's got an order. Insert like.
Yeah, I'm just going to find out who the main guy is and bribe him. So he'll get VIP tickets to every concert that comes to Perth. He can meet and greet every star he wants to meet. I'll have him sitting on the lap of Elton John, whatever he wants. No problems.
Well, I can be predicting that you didn't order the single motor rear wheel drive, because that's like less
Definitely
than
not.
6.5 seconds. You didn't go for the dual motor, because that's 4.5.
Try.
You might have gone for the tri motor, which is 2.9.
Correct. Yeah.
And
still slow for Jared.
Yes.
It's slow, but it's 7 ton.
Yeah,
quicker than your Model 3.
It's just a little bit insane, really.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be one hell of a beast.
About 10% faster than the Model 3 Performance.
Yes. Yep.
And that's with the
you even got your captain's chair, and you got it's just.
I like the steering wheel. The steering wheel's like the S. It's like that U-shaped wheel.
The yoke.
It's a yoke.
The yoke.
That's no
Yeah.
yoke either. Yes, they're not yoking.
Oh,
and actually, since we're segueing to stuff about the Cybertruck, I had teased this last week, so Jared sort of knows a little bit what I'm talking about. But a cool thing was that Tesla had registered quite a few patents, and in the patents it actually describes how the user interface and sort of the features of in this case, the Cybertruck, but it'll probably migrate to Models 3, Y, because a lot of these will be software features. I'll just bring up the patents. So they've got a couple of flow charts, and in these flow charts, they actually describe how the software works. And one of the descriptions, here's one for example at random, is that you first identify the passenger in the vehicle, you store that information that recognizes their face, and you can then retrieve the passenger's preferences. Now, this is the passenger, not the driver, but I think they use those terms interchangeably, so it can mean the passenger or the driver, or both. And then you can associate. So all this is saying is you identify who it is, and then you pull out what their preferences are, whether that's HVAC, seating position, etc.
Is that facial recognition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, another one is you identify the passenger, you work out where their face is, and e.g. their eyes, and then you adjust the mirrors based on the tracking of that portion being their eyes. So it'll automatically, even if it doesn't know who you are, or you haven't been in the vehicle before, it will basically automatically adjust the side mirrors to the position of your eyes relative to the mirrors.
That's nuts.
This is describing some stuff, I'm not quite sure. That's showing the cameras. You can have your rear camera and your side ones. We've already got that in our cars, basically.
Yeah.
That was just, what's known? That was Franz testing the door.
He walked out on Friday with that weapon as well.
With a sledgehammer, yes, because he's going to break.
What was that about?
Yes, yeah. Nothing.
He's going to break some records.
Breaking records, yeah.
Breaking records, all right.
This is actually show. Oh yes, this one is showing controls for the cooktop. So this presumably is electric, and you can change it. This actually, it's very hard to see, but that says steak, so you can tell it what you're cooking, steak, and it tells you what temperature it is, 118 Fahrenheit, and I think that's runtime. That's how long it cooks for.
Have you seen the other smart stuff like the safety stuff? It knows how heavy the person is sitting in the seat and how powerful.
Yes, it doesn't show that in this
no,
in this
but just
thing. it's obviously showing that the standard, this is Model 3 type stuff. Everyone with Model 3 is very familiar with this sort of air conditioning.
Yeah.
Um,
So Pete, Pete, with your Model 3, when you got it, did the software change much between now? Have you seen lots of upgrades and things changing and adding more buttons and?
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
When
yes?
it didn't have Netflix, didn't have YouTube, didn't have single pedal driving. You know, that hold function. Didn't with Smart Summon, it could go back and forth, but you had to be within about 5 meters of the car, so it couldn't find you. Now I can be up to 50, 60 meters away from it, and he can find me.
5% more horsepower.
5 exactly, and a little bit more range as well. Yeah, I can't think, but yeah, quite. Yeah, on average, you get a update. We haven't had a significant one for a little while now.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything so far come through on mine.
They come on average about every 3 or 4 weeks. They seem to average out to, but there's been a lot of improvements with the full self-driving. You know, the ability to stop at traffic lights and recognize. It couldn't recognize speed signs, so the first Model S's could, because they had the Mobileye software, and Mobileye and Tesla ended up having an argument, and Mobileye took their technology and they had it patented. So Tesla had to figure out a different way to be able to recognize speed signs. But yeah, that was another thing that came about 6 months ago. Yeah, lots of stop sign recognition was another one which you didn't have. So yeah,
But you didn't have to change your computer like they did with Harold.
No. So yeah, just a 25-minute update, firmware update. You're not supposed to. Well, I don't even think you can drive the car while it's updating.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just you got to turn Sentry mode off, otherwise it won't let you do it. And then yeah, just let it do its thing for about 25 minutes. It will bang and it will pop, and you know, you'll hear all sorts of funny sounds going on. And you're on the screen, it will tell you what it's doing, so it gives you updates on the screen. And then the screen will go black for about 30 seconds or so, and then the T logo comes up because it restarts itself, and then you've got the new version.
It tells what it's just done too. It'll just tell you what the update is.
Yes,
like the last
exactly.
one. Last one was minor bug fixes, so it hasn't been any.
Yeah,
you get quite excited, but you can get disappointed at the same time.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, Harold, I've got a question for you, or any of you guys. I took a photo. Here it is. So I wasn't driving, but I'll see if I can put it up. I've never seen this rendered on the screen before. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen again. No, I don't want that. Screen, here we go. Start broadcast. Can you guys see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you look at that, see the middle lane, which has got the big blue line in it, which is where my car is.
Yes.
That lane immediately to the right. Can you see those?
Oh, yes. No, I know exactly what that is, Pete. So
okay,
what that is you were going significantly faster in your lane than the cars to the right of you, and that's a safety feature that Tesla has implemented, whereby if there's a big differential in speed on an adjacent lane, it actually slows down so that there's a lesser speed difference. And that those arrows, like animated, is a symbol saying that it's slowing down because those cars are going a lot slower than you are. And I guess the point is, if someone doesn't see you, they might come out into your lane and you might collide with them. That's exactly what it's doing. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, because there was a truck in the right-hand lane. So
he probably had his phone in his hand as well when he was doing it. Recording it.
That's it. So so just getting quickly back to this patent thing, another feature that they've got, for instance, because this is all using the internal camera, the cabin camera that's facing the passengers, is you identify the passenger, you've got your HVAC on, your aircon on, you work out where their face is, and then you output the air according to what your preferences are. So you may want air in your face, or you may want it away from your face. And as you move in the cabin, the air will sort of follow your body, whether it's to hit your body or not to hit it. So that's sort of another cool little thing. Now this is a great one too. This was actually at the Cybertruck reveal, whereby it can dock and attach to a caravan or a trailer automatically. So it optically looks at the hitch and it will reverse onto the trailer. Now, it may even be clever enough to actually lower itself, like it can bend down or
squat,
and it might be able to put its ball under the cup of the trailer, possibly. But it'll certainly get very close.
That's amazing.
And I think that's, it's got, the normal inclinometers and stuff like that.
And it's 7-ton towing.
Yes.
Do you reckon we'll actually get that in Australia?
No.
I think there are limits, and I
reckon somebody will have a heart attack. No, definitely not.
I think if it's legal, you will. It might be that
yeah, of course will.
Electric brakes or pneumatic brakes or whatever, but
yeah, it'll probably have electric brakes and probably a breakaway line, like a caravan line that has to have by law. It's not in Western Australia though, I believe, that law. It's only the rest of Australia that you have to have that breakaway cable linked up.
And and perhaps it might. I don't know what the tonnage is, but you know how obviously larger loads have to have pneumatic brakes so that they automatically come on if you lose the trailer.
Yeah, well, the only other car that I can think of is like a Ram Dodge. It's like 4.5 ton. When you say 7 ton, you think of a truck. An 8-ton Hino truck. That's what I'm thinking.
But 7 ton would be. I mean, some of the biggest caravans. I mean, you can get some ridiculous ones, but some of the biggest sort of dual axle caravans, most of them don't go above 2.8 ton roughly.
No.
So that's you'll be able to pull 2 of those plus another trailer or something with ease.
It's just out of control. It is. I mean, when you think of that size caravan, you're thinking of something that's mounted in the back of the pickup. That's actually not on the tow bar, but it's mounted on the back.
Yeah, like a
detachable semi. Yeah, exactly. Nothing like a towing 7 tons. That's just.
One little interlude I'll just show, and a shout out to Andy for bringing this up, is if you get one of these, I'll just have a quick check. If you get one of these, don't panic. This is a debt advice from the Department of Transport for only $5,115.95 for outstanding rego fee. What this is basically, it seems Tesla not having quite paid the rego for a brand new Model 3. And then the Department of Transport inviting the owner to pay that money instead. Now, obviously, you won't have to pay it. It's just a clerical thing. But it certainly scares the crap out of you if you get one of these. And apparently rumour has it, there's been a few around. You'd mainly get this if you had, for instance, custom plates, where you take your shiny new HIH plates or whatever they are these days.
That's it.
And swap them for your custom plate that you've had sitting there waiting for months on end because you ordered it when you ordered the car.
Yep.
Don't be shocked if you get a debt advice saying you owe all the rego and stamp duty. But it's just an error. or should I say, it's just that Tesla haven't made the payment yet, and they obviously will, and you obviously don't need to pay it. So don't worry. But yeah, shout out to Andy for tipping us off on that one.
Yeah, I was in my office and my wife comes, she's like, WTF is this?
But by the way, Andy, I went to liberty of putting blue highlighter and stuff over your highlighter because I had a little closer look and I could see all the stuff on this side. So I figured I'd just touch it up for you a bit.
Yeah, all good, mate. I just did that on my iPhone. So
yeah, me too.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all good. But
you're better with the iPhone than me then.
I just got to look a bit closer, that's all. But yeah, that was sort of quite interesting. And when Andy said it, it's like, no, that's obviously a mistake. And it was cool because I sort of suggested that he might look at his invoice, and sure enough, the stamp duty and rego and the invoice almost matched. Was it about $10 difference, Andy? Something like that? 10,
yeah, it's $10 different, which is kind of weird. I don't know whether that's because they applied a slightly different calculation because maybe the car was worth more with the plates or something like that. I don't know. But hey, who knows? But thanks for the assurance, Harold.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I was quite confident it was an error. But yeah, it's just another one of those things, unfortunately. I guess that can happen when you're delivering hundreds of cars in a few weeks. Some just slips through the cracks.
Yeah, totally. I wasn't upset about it. I didn't even ring Tesla, but I just a bit of a shock, that was all.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to my favorite subject, which is the Cybertruck, because I don't know if there is any other Tesla other than the Cybertruck. Here's a cool thing with the tonneau cover. So it's actually like a roller shutter. And that diagram doesn't really describe much, but the next couple, that's obviously it closed and open. And you can see where they actually store it. So they actually store it under the bed. And one thing that's sort of interesting, that's a little bit, well, at least in this image is a bit disappointing, is this is the rear window. So it's obviously doesn't go all the way up to that. It just sits up to here. I think there might be a diagram of it recessed. There's not. I guess the question is, how far up does this go? Because if it goes to here, it means you can't have vents going into the tray, into the back area, which might restrict your glamping ability. But then Tesla might have, the side walls have a thickness, so you might be able to sneak air vents sort of around the side, to the side of this curtain. But basically that shows where it goes up, and then almost as a right angle to go along there, and that's your tray. And the next image basically just shows each slat. And this actually shows a seal. So there's a seal here. So this one's on a slight curve. And when it goes straight, it seals up. So it's all watertight, which is pretty cool. And I think the last one I had was for the battery pack, the structural battery pack, which actually also shows the pack that's going to be in the Model Ys, or actually, and Model S. Which is this. This is one of the images from the battery day, and that shows the structural pack here. And this is the Model S, which is actually, this is the Plaid. This is basically what the Plaid S has, which are 18650 batteries. So they're not the 4680s. And this is a little bit like what the Model 3s have. They have 4 modules and they're in columns. So there's one module along here, one there, and one there. But it's in a structural pack. Oh, sorry, well, it's in their modified pack. It's not the full structural pack. This is the Model S, or there might should be Model X. And that's each module. And this is similar to what the Model 3s have. Now this one is actually, this is the structural pack that the Model Y will have coming out of Giga Texas and Giga Berlin, where you've got the 4680s sandwiched together. These things here, these are actually the risers that they have for the seats. So the difference between a Model Y and a Model 3 is they've got spaces that are about 6 inches, 5 or 6 inches tall to raise the seat position higher, but they still have standard Model 3 seats. And again, this is the Model S version of the pack. And that's just the 4680. Yeah, that's it. So there you go. So that's the structural pack, and also the less structural pack for the model, the Plaid Model S and X. Yeah, so that's it for the patent stuff. And again, that was a bit of a preview last week, just before we closed.
Could I ask a quick question?
Yes, Raj.
I'm still sort of getting my head around the user interface. Mostly really good, but every now and then a few alerts sort of come and go before I can pay attention to what they were. They seem to disappear. I noticed a couple of times the top of the sort of drive information section starts pulsing blue. And then
that just means, Raj, that just means you haven't had your hands on the steering wheel for a while, or it's just the car telling you that it can't feel pressure on the steering wheel, so it's not sure if you have your hands on the steering wheel or not.
Because I've seen it have a little text alert at the bottom saying, you know, apply pressure to the steering wheel, but sometimes it does that, and other times it does that blue pulsing, and I wasn't sure what that was. Okay.
Yeah, it does the first one. It does the text first. It says apply light pressure to the steering wheel, and if you don't, a couple of seconds later or a few seconds later, it will do that blue pulse.
Right. Okay.
And if you still don't touch the steering wheel, it'll then give this like a beep beep, quite fraught beep beep sound. And if you still don't touch it, then it will actually put the hazards on and bring the car to a gentle stop and stop the car.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And the other thing too is if this happens to you in that it gives you that warning beep, it may then say to you, it'll give you a notification that says autopilot is not enabled or is disabled for the rest of this journey. So basically you're in the sin bin for autopilot. The way you get out of the sin bin is safely park your car, like stop your car, put it in park briefly, and then back into drive, and then you'll be out of the sin bin.
Yeah, okay. All right, that makes sense.
Did you say how to attach the bottle to the steering wheel? Did someone mention that last week, attaching a
no one's
bottle?
ever mentioned that.
Oh, I thought somebody that drove down from Darwin said to attach a Powerade bottle.
No, you
don't. I can put my hand on my heart and say I've never attached a water bottle to my steering wheel.
Yeah, I can say the same thing about our new truck, that if you cut the blue wire in the center console, the TV will run while you're driving it. It does work. So, but they suggest that you don't cut the blue wire, but it works. So, yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
I have some news.
Yes, go Nigel.
My car's finally getting fixed on Monday.
Hey.
What was wrong with it, Nigel?
When I took, Harold's laughing because he was there when it happened. When I took delivery of the car, well, a couple of minutes before I took delivery, I witnessed the younger Tesla sales rep moving it, and he scratched it on the curb that's just outside their service center.
Oh my God! Well, as you took delivery?
Yeah, just before I took delivery.
Oh, just before you took delivery. Oh, wow. How long ago was this?
It was about a good
It was
2.5
March.
months ago.
Oh, so it's a very speedy response.
Yeah, it was.
March. Right. Okay. Great. So, yeah, that's
It's
3 months in the making.
Well, just now got a new problem in that the rear trunk, when you open it, it decides to close about a couple of seconds after, so it barely gets up to stop, then it just closes again.
I just need recalibrating.
Yeah, I've what they're going to do is they'll sort it out at when they pull it apart for repair.
This is a brand new car.
It's a brand new car.
Yeah, I'd be seriously talking to a legal fraternity about supplying you a product that is working in 100% order before you take delivery.
Well, you just put it through. You just put the issue through the app, and they'll sort it out
in 3 months.
Well, the scratch was 3 months. The issue with the door was just this week. So, I mean, the trunk is just this week. So,
the scratch what happened was, I don't know if you've obviously seen the Osborne Park showroom. Yeah. That bit here is the ramp that goes up to the service section, and there's like a low sort of wall. It becomes a wall and a curb, and Nigel's car was just here, and it had to be moved to down here. So rather than just turning like that, the gentleman swept left and just went onto this thing here. And
that's not good.
Yeah.
No.
And
they speedily took it away and did some triage on it. So they give that to them. But yeah, just getting the dent removed was a very long time.
A 3-month turnaround to get a panel removed. It's
not a panel though, Jared. It's actually the
sill.
The undersill, like it's a structural member. It's not trivial, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
And in all fairness to Tesla, if Nigel had said, "I just don't want this car. I want, I don't want it today, or I don't want it," they would have been cool with that. That was absolutely an option for Nigel to enforce.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have taken it if they did that tomorrow.
Mind you, I did catch the train from where I live up to Osborne Park, and that was a nice, good 40-minute train ride. I just said, well, I'm not going to take the train back again, so I just took the car. And look,
they should have just given you a loan car. It would have been my next choice.
Yeah, but at that time, they didn't have any loan cars.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I think even on the day, mine was the only dual motor. The rest of them were single with a standard range.
Jeez, okay.
Someone, I don't know who this is, but someone said they've got a pop quiz. Oh, that was you, Peter. Go, Peter. Give us a quiz.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Look, just let me.
Sorry, Pete. I'll just interrupt. I've just got to go. I'm just not feeling the best.
Yeah, cool, Pete.
But that vaccination you had.
Good to see you, mate. Take care.
Could be.
Something I said.
It's you, Pete.
Yeah.
See you, Pete.
See you guys.
Okay. I have behind me a picture of a car with gull wings. It's not a Model X. But I'm just wondering if someone can tell me as much as they can about it and how it might compare with the Plaid. And
well, it's a DeLorean.
Yeah.
Fiberglass body with stainless steel skin, door skin, skins, brushed stainless steel.
Yeah.
They famously went broke. That one there, it's obviously featured in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
What was the Plaid? The Plaid, I'm not sure about the Plaid. The Plaid originates from Spaceballs, which had nothing to do with DeLorean.
So what was the actual fuel for this, and what was the how was it
Well, it was 1.21
dealt with and so on?
1.21 gigawatts.
It was plutonium.
The actual car was petrol and it was a piece of crap.
Yeah, no.
Actually, in the movie, the car actually ran on petrol, but the actual levitation and the actual flux capacitor had to be powered by fusion.
It was plutonium, wasn't it?
I think there was a steam train somewhere in one of the movies.
That was the end when he actually remade a steam train into a time machine.
That's right.
Okay, and so how
this
fast?
sucker's electrical.
So how fast could it go?
88 miles.
88 miles an hour.
Okay. All right. Now, and so the actual horsepower of this and how it compares to a Plaid?
The real car was.
I think it's only 88 kilowatts.
No, 88 miles an hour. No, it was 88 miles an hour. That's what you had
I think the actual car was only 88 kilowatts. It wasn't actually a high-powered car.
No, it couldn't be as high powered as John DeLorean wanted, because emissions regulations came in the States just at the time when the original engine was going to be put into production. So
they had to use a digital dashboard because the original dashboard could only go to 85 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's change it.
If I can actually, if I can just answer some of those things. I seem to recall they would just put some food scraps in there or something to
that was a Mr. Fusion.
Yeah, to get the fusion going and the flux capacitor and so on. This is the actual DeLorean, and it came to Perth as part of the Back to the Future when they had that at the concert hall that had that symphony orchestra. The symphony orchestra plays the background, and they have the Back to the Future film on the big screen. So this was the actual DeLorean they used in the film.
Peter, I think they actually used 3 of them in the film. So that's obviously one of them.
One of them, yeah. So 1.2 gigawatts. Now that 1.2 gigawatts works out to be 1,644,000 horsepower.
Oh.
The Plaid is 1,020. So it's considerably, it's about 1,000
That was only to power the flux capacitor.
Was it? Oh, well, anyway, so, but, it's power, let's not quibble. And so the 88 miles per hour is certainly a thing. And just give me a second, I'll actually show you a screenshot that I took sort of peering into the Speedo. When I was there, it should come through. Okay, I'll just get out of the way a little bit. You can't actually see it that well on here, unfortunately, but basically, oh no, you can't see my mouse either. But basically, the top speed graduation is actually 80 miles per hour. So it doesn't actually have a graduation after the 80 miles an hour. So I'm not quite sure if it actually could get to 88, but as you said, 85 or whatever was mentioned, but 88 is what they said in the film, and the speedo only goes to 80. So anyway, it's
that's why they had the digital one at the side.
Yeah, it's anyway, so it's interesting to actually see the actual car they had in the movie, and that it is the power generated is 1,000 times what a Plaid does. So yeah. Anyway,
I think for the film as well, they did actually put a dash speedo that went up to 90.
All right, yeah. Well, this is actually, this is. I mean, the different cars might have had the dash visible or whatever. So anyway, by the by, it is one of the real cars anyway. Okay, over to someone else.
Is one of the Ava members doing an electric conversion on his? Is it? There's one of the Ava members owns a DeLorean. Has been converting it for years. Hasn't quite got there yet.
Well, actually, everyone can do this in their own cars. So if you wait till your car is at 121 kilometers range left, or if it's got a bit more range than that and it's got 121 miles left, if you then look at your car through your Tesla app, you'll get this. So I forget how you do it. I think you got to press a button that says something like enable time circuits or something like that.
It was only the Model X, Harold.
No, it works on an S as well, I think.
Richard, this is you. This has got your name written all over it.
Hang on, I'm just writing this down. No, I'm not really.
Although, actually, I could be wrong. Maybe it is only on a Model X. So apologies if it doesn't work. But try it when your car is at exactly 121 kilometers range or 121 miles, which you can change on your car. So, of course, the scheduled appointment is on the 5th of November, 1955, which is, I think, Marty McFly's birthday or something. And I believe that 1600 South Azura Avenue in Rowland Heights is a significant thing as well. But there you go. Perhaps it only works on Model X. So there you go.
And who's got a Model X? Do we know?
Again?
Who's got a Model X? Have you got a Model X?
I've got a Model X and my wife has a Model S.
Yeah, S. There you go.
Yeah. And hi, my name's Harold and I've got a Cybertruck reservation.
And so have I.
and there's Jared and he's got one as well, and he's got a Model S reservation.
Yeah, that will be tomorrow.
For a commitment of a whole $150.
Just a night out on the town.
Exactly right. Exactly
Cheap
right.
night out.
It's all good.
Absolutely.
Harold, can
yes.
I give some conjecture? If we're at a point where we're sort of running out of things to say at the moment, that when we were talking earlier about the carbon overwrapped rotors for the Plaid powertrain,
yep,
and how they were saying it's so light you could pick it up, my first thought was, aircraft application.
Oh yes, well, no. See, the thing is, well, when you say it's so light you can pick it up, in that for something that can produce 1,000 horsepower, you can certainly lift up the rotor. That's for sure. I'm not sure about the entire motor because I don't even know if that actually included the inverter, which has got extra weight.
Okay.
But what's got the applications is the carbon overwrapping. And I meant to do this before the show, but if you work out 20,000 RPM and work out the diameter of the rotor, the G forces that's experiencing is horrendous, which is why at 20,000 RPM, they've got to have that carbon fiber overwrapping, because otherwise it would literally tear itself apart. It would just fly apart. It would just break.
I just thought that amount of power in such a small, compact, lightweight container, just has other potential applications.
Oh no. See, yeah, I think the power's it's not the power's not the issue. The reason why they got the carbon fiber is for the speed. So unlike the Porsche Taycan, which has a 2-speed gearbox, the Tesla, well, in fact, the original Roadster,
did as well,
had a 2-speed box, and they kept on breaking it. So in desperation, they basically left it in second gear, in top gear, and just modified the electronics to suit. And they obviously found out, as we now know, that that's perfectly okay. But obviously, to get the 200-mile-an-hour ridiculous top speed on a single-geared motor, you have to have this. It has to do 20,000.
Oh, I see.
So obviously, at 100 miles an hour, it's doing a mere 10,000 RPM, which any of our cars can do all day, every day. But to get to 200 miles, you've got to get 20,000 RPM. I think our motors are rated to about 12,000 RPM or something.
I looked that up as soon as straight after this thing. It's very hard to find. I saw numbers up to 18,000, but I don't think that's right. I thought it was about 13, but I found it very hard to find out that.
Well, Tesla's.
I did some research, couldn't find it.
Actually, there's an easy way to see, because a standard Tesla's top speed is 250 kilometers per hour. And I know that because I've done it. It taps out, it basically redlines or stops going faster than 250. That's its top speed.
Isn't a Model 3 is 261?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's a performance.
Yeah, 261.
So I was in a Model S that wasn't a performance. So you're right. Perhaps there's that leeway. I think at 250 it goes red, and then at 255 it cuts out, or 245 goes red, 250. But let's call it 260. So Richard, if you're saying at 260 kilometers per hour, no, let's go back the other way. The Plaid S its top speed is 250 miles an hour. No,
the gearing could be totally different.
Yeah, it's probably similar though. Okay, it's 320 k's an hour, and that's 20,000 RPM.
Just the inside lane.
Actually, Harold, I did the math on that a couple while I was watching the video from Tesla, and I assumed that it had the same gearing as the Model 3, so it was a 9-to-1. And at 9-to-1 gearing, you could get the car, assuming that you've got the same 19-inch wheels as the Model 3, you can get to 322 kilometers per hour just on just using that motor at 20,000 RPM.
Yes, which then means that
we've got to move to Germany and get near the Autobahn.
Yes, so at 250 k's an hour, it's only doing 16,000 RPM.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and like I said, I've done it on a German Autobahn with unlimited speed, and I didn't do it for very long because it just doesn't feel right. It really doesn't. And I've got video of doing a relaxed 150 because that's the top speed that autopilot stays in. So autopilot automatically kicks off at 150 k's an hour. So beyond 150, you've got to drive yourself. And this Model S had a sunroof, and I think the sunroof closes at 140 or so automatically because it starts buffeting. So it actually starts closing once you do more than 140 k's an hour.
It's crazy.
But as I said in the intro, that Model S, the older ones, they couldn't do 200 k's an hour for very long. They start getting into power reduction mode because they start overheating because they just can't cool themselves down fast enough. And I think I was down to 100 kilowatts of energy, but I could still maintain like 180 k's an hour at 100 kilowatts because it's obviously really slippery. So I had to do a sedate 180 sort of in limping mode. But
that's crazy.
I tried something else this week. I thought, I wonder what the regen, how many G-force, what G's you get on regen. So I put it into track mode and backed off, and I got about 0.3 G's, right? And then I thought, oh, that's interesting. Did it a few times, and then I put it back into normal driving, and I don't think the regen is as heavy in normal driving as it is in track mode. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
That's plausible.
Yeah, 100%.
Because track mode, in a sense, it's less caring of the health of the car by definition.
No, I think it's more caring of the health of the car. It turns on all the cooling and all this stuff. All sorts of things start happening.
Oh yeah, but I mean, because it's expecting you to absolutely fang it. So
yeah,
as soon as you enable track mode, all you hear is the front fan just going off its nut because it's going at full speed because it's expecting to get hot very quickly. But what I mean is, when you're in normal mode, I think it's about 50 kilowatts of regen if you look at your scale. Actually, I'm not sure. You guys in the Model 3s, do you have can you actually see what the regen power is?
No, it's just a green line.
Yeah.
There's no markings.
I've got Tesla mode. I can tell you.
There's a green line. That's it.
Okay. So in the Model X and Model S, it actually has numbers next to that line
Yeah.
in a curved sort of dial, and it goes to roughly about 50 kilowatts of regen. But in track mode, yeah, it's certainly plausible that it might do harder regen, because that's useful if you're racing to get more braking effort without brakes.
Just felt like it, taking the nose in on the corners. Yeah.
So if I'm at a set of traffic lights and there's a camera, and I put my foot down, there's a good chance that I'm going to get a flash before I get to the other end of the traffic lights.
No.
No, you won't, because as we all know, for those red light, for the speed cameras, some have a laser that scans, but many of them have just two pickup coils, two induction coils, and it's just measuring the lump of metal going from one coil, the time it takes from one coil to the next. So if you boot it, you won't be at 60 Ks. No, the answer is no. It's okay, Jared. But by the time you get to the other side of the intersection, you could very well be exceeding the speed limit.
Yeah, right.
I'm just having a look at the stats on my car. Minus 60 kilowatts is the regen.
60, right? Yes.
60, yeah.
Yeah.
It just says minus 60 down there, so I'm assuming that's regen.
Yeah.
What app are you using to look at that?
I'm using Tesla. I'm using Tesla Mate.
Tesla Mate.
Tesla Mate.
That's a new one.
It's another new one.
You have to actually have to have a Linux box or Linux server at your house to be able to do that. You can't. It's not a cloud system.
Oh,
you're far younger than me. You understand what you're talking about. I don't.
So it's like a small computer.
It's something like a Raspberry Pi or something like that.
It's the comedy.
I had a Raspberry Pi. They're delicious, but I've never stopped rising for one.
Whipped cream.
Yeah.
That's gold. Absolutely funny.
Oh, Peter, you're muted there, mate.
It's something to do with the penguin, I think, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. No, that was the Phantom Raspberry Bar from Dave Allen at large. Yeah, so Linux boxes are like a little mini computer, basically. So how's that work, Nigel?
Well, I haven't actually looked into the actual technical
So you
side.
need a Linux box.
Well, because you could probably try to do it on Windows, but you need to install another bit of software called Docker, and it basically containerizes this app so it doesn't interfere with anything else, and it just goes off and talks to the car. I mean, doesn't talk to the car, but it goes straight to Tesla to talk to the car, and it basically honors the sleep patterns and everything. Unlike, I think Testify doesn't honor the sleep patterns, actually keeps the car awake. So in the morning, if you're doing with Testify, if you're doing a charge between 11 and 4, after the charge is finished, the car is still awake and it's still chewing up power. So you end up with from 90% charge at the end of the charge down to 85. So that's why I use Tesla Mate, because it's when the car is asleep, it just says, okay, I'm not going to talk to the car at all.
Does something like, have you tried Scan My Tesla, and you get a Bluetooth dongle, which on a Model 3 you need to get like a little wiring loom adapter. So
yeah,
in the back of your center console, you pull a little panel off underneath the aircon vents, and then you can just pull apart the loom. Well, there's a connector, and you splice in this adapter, and then you just get a Bluetooth dongle, which can then talk to your phone, either an Android or an iPhone. And I'm not sure if that has. Geez, sorry, Nigel, go. Yeah, go.
I saw what's his name, Bjorn Nyland, do that. He does it too. I think every Tesla that he's ever driven.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But yeah, so the regen, it's interesting, Richard. Yeah, that regen seems to be slightly harder on track mode.
Interesting to know. I don't know, but just felt like it.
And something else too, for anyone new to their cars, is if you leave your car outside in the cold, and it's winter and it's cold at the moment, regardless of your state of charge, pretty much, if it's really cold, you'll get very little regen. So your car will feel strange because as you're coasting down the road to a stop sign, it won't regen and go slower. It'll just sort of skate along, because when the battery's below 18.5 degrees, it's got restricted regen because it's cold. So that's a little pro tip. Your car will feel a bit strange when it's really cold on regen.
Thanks.
And it also charges slower on DC charges, because again, it has to warm up the battery to be able to accept the charge. Which
That's
is
actually
regen's restricted in the first place, because a cold battery can't absorb much energy without a potential for damage. So Tesla's onto it and make sure they protect the car or the battery.
Oh. Hmm.
But you know, as Bjorn Noland would say, you just do a few things, like you just do a few hard accelerations and then take your foot off, and then it very quickly warms your battery up while it's depleting it. But anyway, it's all good. I just got a note. What's the best? Oh, where's the best storage device to upgrade from the standard pen drive? Yes, Andrew. So I've used an SSD, solid state, micro SD card in the little adapter, USB adapter, which I thought was a really good thing. But to be honest, I don't know about anyone else, but I've had a few glitches every now and then. I know others have used a solid state drive, like a traditional USB solid state drive, which are usually much, much bigger. You know, they're like a couple of 100 gigabytes or something like that, and substantially more expensive. So the cheapest option is if you go to somewhere like PLE Computers or whatever and just get a micro SD card, and you get the Extreme. I think it's called Extreme. It's a white color with gray printing on it. But to be fair, I've had a couple of glitches, so I'm not sure whether that's just me or, you know.
Those cards have a limited rewrite cycle.
The micro SDs.
Yeah, I think you end up with something like 1,500 rewrite cycles, which, depending upon how often you delete files and recreate them, you could end up anywhere between 3 months and a good 15 years.
Right. And what about
the solid state drives are designed to be rewritten? I think they have something like what they say 1 million cycles, but it ends up being something like a good 3 years anyway. 3-year life.
Right. So in that case, if you invest the extra bucks to get a solid state drive, it's going to last longer than, certainly a lot longer than memory sticks, because they're shocking. It's flash, or micro SD, which is better, but that's like the middle ground, I guess.
The other thing that I looked at when I was buying my solid state drive was looking at the bandwidth, like how many megabytes a second it was writing, because you really don't want to get something that is pretty slow, because if you're writing video and you're doing about 8 cameras, I think it shows 4, but I know that somewhere that those other 2 cameras at the side are also being written somewhere.
They're not to the USB device, sadly.
No.
But yeah, I don't think they are. But the thing is, it's still, well, it's not 4K video, but it's still high resolution, well, high-ish.
Yeah, it's 720, but it's still
720p, yeah.
So it's I think it's like 30 frames or something like that. So it's quite a fast video.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, one of our members, Matt, he actually was relatively gently rear-ended near UWA, and to his frustration, because the way it records it, it's in several minute slots, files, individual files, and it will just create a new file for the next slot. Like once a certain amount of time has elapsed, it will then create a new file. And he got rear-ended just as that transition occurred. So there was like a little minor gap, in a fraction of a second gap, just as you could see the car was about to hit his car on the back, and it just missed it. But I don't know whether that would have been quicker if you had a quicker storage device or not. But, oh, here we go. Samsung SSD. Yeah, solid state drive. There you go. T7 Touch.
I have seen on another forum that someone actually did recommend that particular drive.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've got one of them. Seems to work fine.
I won't be endorsed by corporate sponsorship.
The other problem that has been reported that is if you leave there's a thing that you put record on honk. So if you have an accident, you honk the horn, it records it. Well, it does exactly the opposite. You lose the last minute of your video if you do that. And someone reported this, and I've tried that, and that's what happened. So turn off record on honk, and if something happens to you, stop the car, wait a minute, and then save your file.
It's actually a very good point, Richard, because I've had a similar experience that if you press the button, I don't use the horn, generally, but you're right. If you press the button too soon, it can sort of glitch out on a previous few seconds.
Yeah, so you miss what you need.
Yeah.
I have another question. So I went past the car. It's in the garage. The garage is sealed, but it's still making a fan sound.
Oh, yeah.
Why would that be?
Because it's your fan, mate. It loves you.
Yeah, but the wife did.
Only got one fan now.
The wife did leave the interior air conditioning on the other day, and I noticed the percentage going down quite rapidly over 2 days. Normally, you see like 1 or 2% going in a day. But I just heard before the fan is on, but the car is actually asleep.
Is your car charging at the moment?
No, it's just sitting.
Mine does that often. If you go out there, open the door, close the door, it'll turn the fan off. I don't understand why. But it doesn't make any sense.
The car's on. It's in a garage. It's got a cover over it at the moment.
Yep.
But you just hear the fan going, and then you check the app, and then you look at the app, and it says it's asleep.
Yeah. But it's not. Open the door and close it, and it'll stop that fan going. I don't know why.
Right.
Is it possible that? Oh, was your phone close to the car? Was it unlocked?
No, the phone's not close to it. It's sitting on 88%. It got charged yesterday at 90. So in 2 days, it's pretty much dropped 2%.
That's pretty good.
2%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good actually. Yeah, that's good.
So sort of 1.5%.
You've got Sentry mode turned off at home.
So turned off. Well, it's set for home. It's at home, so it knows to turn off. But I still, like I said, I just walked past it before, and you can hear a fan going out near the engine. Well, the front
Did you
of the
notice
car.
the fan come on as you were walking past, or was it?
No, it was just sound like it was on.
Yeah, they do that. Don't ask me why. Mystery.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The thing is, was it a fan or maybe the coolant pump? I wonder.
Oh,
no, it's a fan.
Oh, it's a fan?
Like a fan.
Okay. I know they do things, I think we mentioned this a few weeks ago, where you can get a build-up of aircon smell. And there was a question about how often you change the cabin filter. And I know there was a fault with the Model 3s in that there'd be a build-up of moisture in the aircon system, and that would create mold and whatever, fungus or whatever. And Tesla's fix for it was to deliberately overrun the aircon fan with fresh air to dry everything out. Now, I just wonder perhaps if part of their program is
still doing that.
Every now and then it'll just put a bit of fresh air into the cabin to make sure it's dry or something, perhaps.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe.
Might have been the HVAC fan, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'll listen out for it a bit more. But
yeah, cool.
Yeah, mine does that, Jared. It's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, it's
figure
bizarre,
it out. Let
isn't
me
it?
know. Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, it seems to be dropping like 1% a day.
That's bloody
from-
good.
Right. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was dropping it quite a bit like I said, a couple of days ago, because my wife left the interior aircon on, and so it was staying at that temperature for a couple of days. But yeah, worked that one out pretty quick.
You will drop a bit too if you've got the car outside in summer, where it does the cabin, and you've turned on cabin overheat protection. That will use a bit of power, but you can control that. You can either let it do the premium version, which is use the entire aircon, or there's a setting that just says use fresh air only, and it'll do its best effort to keep the cabin down to 40 degrees and no hotter. But I presume it just lets it go a bit higher if you've insisted not to use the air compressor, the refrigerated cooling, and just use fresh air.
You realise how nutty smart our cars are? They're ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I didn't have this on my Cortina when I sold it.
Dear.
Yes, definitely getting crazier. I have another question for you, Harold.
Yes.
How many members are there to the Tesla Club now? The Tesla's Owners Association. How many actual members in WA is there?
I think paying, we're approaching 300 paying members, and then we've probably got at least a similar non-paying. And it's a little bit hard because
how do you be a non-payer? How does that work?
Oh, social.
It's easy. You just forget to pay like I did.
Oh, well, you can forget to pay, or you just haven't signed up. So, and if you're a financial member, you get to borrow all the loan stuff, all the loan equipment for free, and you get a discount on the Type 2 cables and that 11 kilowatt portable charging unit, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to be a member to still go to our casual meetups and enjoy all the social.
Hey, if you can't afford $20 to become a member,
oh well, true. Yeah, well that's
you should be driving Tesla. You should be driving a scooter.
Yes, but the thing is, there's nothing. What was the saying that Paul Keating would say? Never get between a premier and a bag of money. Never get between a Tesla owner and a free charging outlet, because you buy $100,000 car and then you want free electricity forever.
You need free electricity forever.
Yes, that's right. So, but I must admit, our numbers are increasing rapidly. So we're getting. Lately, we've been getting more than a new member a day, basically.
That's good.
Which is pretty cool. So
yeah, that is cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to be a member to enjoy all our sort of side benefits.
I think I would have paid a lot more to become a member of the information that I've learned.
Yeah, well,
from this club,
we used to have $50 a year, but we worked out that we had lowish numbers then, and it wasn't. We didn't need the money, because there wasn't enough to do something useful, and we were collecting too much to, it was beyond our expenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's all good. $20 is fine, and yeah, like you say, it's not really a big investment for what you get. And we do this stuff for free anyway, to any new Tesla owner or aspiring owner. We just want more and more Teslas on the road, because that's what is better for all of us.
Absolutely.
I've just posted an article in the chat on why your fan runs randomly during the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's, I think, mostly to do with the battery heat level.
The which, sorry?
Battery.
It's to do with battery heat.
Battery heat. It's in the garage with a cover over it. It's tucked in pretty nicely.
Yeah, might be too hot.
Okay.
Mind you, you said it's in a garage, and it's probably got three covered walls and a.
It's got two sealed doors, BMD insulated doors.
Yeah, I don't know, Nigel. I mean, it obviously says that.
It's not that warm in there, that's for sure, Nigel.
It's likely it's simply trying to keep the batteries from overheating due to
it's quite cool in there still.
Yeah, but it's not warm at the moment.
No, it's freezing outside at the moment. It's definitely something worth looking at, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I had heard something about the interior lights being on when they shouldn't have been, and that was to do with something not shut down properly. I have heard of that before. Cabin overheat.
Oh, I'm going to go have a look now. You got me looking.
Yeah, at my backyard it's 8.8, so good luck.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's not going to be hot.
While you're waiting, I've got a little thing here which might be interesting. This is my capacitor bank on the left with the wheels there. This is a shot taken in daylight. This capacitor bank will pass a current through a very fine iron wire. It's very light, a very small gauge thing. Over towards the X-ray transformer there. It's not, the X-ray transformer is just there as a support. There's nothing, you're not functioning at all. And then it comes back via a heavy cable, heavy copper cable back. I think I might have even have two iron wires. But anyway, what that capacitor bank is doing, the capacitor bank charges up to about 10,000 volts. It's sort of rated for about 100,000 amps. That combination of those capacitors can go probably up to 200. I think I've measured 100. I don't think I measured this. Anyway, this is basically a discharge which vaporizes a wire, forms a big plasma channel to get the power comes back and forth. Because it's a bit of a distance, there's going to be a bit of an inductance of a nano. Per foot or something, what a straight line is. But anyway, this works out to be about and it lasts about a 30,000th of a second. That's the resonant frequency if you to get a cycle or so through. So it's something like about 1 gigawatt for a 30,000th of a second. So it sort of approaches the 1.21 gigawatt, I think is how they said in the film. And it's amazingly bright. It's a daylight shot, so the plants in the back are being lit up there. Incredibly loud. So at 1 gigawatt, I think a Plaid is give or take about 1,000. 1 megawatt or probably 7,000 kilowatt or something like that. No, that's 7 big word. Yeah, and anyway, so it's about 1,000 times more for that 30,000th of a second than a Plaid. But now lightning is only 20 to 40 kiloamps for a normal stroke, not a positive stroke, it's a negative stroke. So it is actually, the peak current is actually a fair bit more than regular lightning, but regular lightning goes for a lot longer. But this is only a foot lightning, sort of, mile long. So so it's a bit, anyway, just so if you want to know what it could actually be more, because I do things which are a bit more intense than that, but they're not. This is quite a sort of a spectacular sort of showy thing. But I have a lot of others that I do. But anyway, that's probably that's sort of a gigawatt for 30,000th of a second. So
yeah, cool, awesome. So Jared.
Yeah, I just
fan on, fan off.
I went out. The fan was on, and I took the advice from the senior technician, Mr. Cooper, and open and close the door, and it stopped straight away once the door opened, and then closed the door and it was stopped. But there was no interior light on. I had a quick look under the cover, and to tell you how good the cover is, by the way. And
no, please do. You know.
Oh, the Tesla cover.
Also, hey Jared, I heard
it was last week.
Right. What do you reckon?
What's that? Sorry.
Sorry, I heard your cover might be okay. What do you reckon?
Oh, the cover's just absolutely out of this world. I can't describe the cover enough. The way you can close the side mirrors with the cover on, which is important. Also, the fact you can charge just by opening the side flap. Harold, you should be bringing up the picture of the cover by now.
I'm onto it, Jared.
And the cover is it is actually a really good cover. Believe it or not, I'm actually really blown away by the cover. I'm sure that Elon has had one of his best cover technicians on the design, because it does fit like a glove, and it's extremely well designed cover. It's black.
You've got the indoor one.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one there. It
Look
looks
at that.
extremely.
There's a charge port.
That's the charging port. Yeah, you just undo the flap and away you go.
And your wing mirrors, right?
And
there.
the wing mirrors, they fold in with the cover on them, which, you know, and the underline of the cover is like a it's like a sort of like a very thin quilt, so there's no chance of scratching or anything like that. It comes with a nice bag. You can also use the bag for bowling. It's definitely a bowling bag accessory. Fantastic, but it is a good cover, I must admit. You know,
and you've also got the front vent. You can see the gauze.
Yeah, it has a ventilation shaft there, which you can also use for cooking, for spaghetti and stuff, for a sort of a drainer that you can use at some stage. Yeah, it's a very, very snug, easy to put on, very easy to put on.
And a very reasonable $360.
Very reasonable.
470.
Sorry?
Oh, that's right. You've got the special Tesla pricing.
Yeah, yes. I haven't received that email, the 20% off.
Yeah, I know.
Can I receive that, please? Can I give you my email address, Harold?
As I said before, it's unfortunately only on apparel.
Oh, that's right. I've got to buy a pair of track pants. Maybe if I sewed all the track pants together, I could probably just save $10 and get the cover. But wouldn't be as good look, though. It wouldn't be as...
No doubt. I'm sure that when you get the codes, and by the way, I think they're coming out the next couple of weeks. There's a whole batch, which is the original, all the sign-ups for the original batch in a couple of weeks.
That's great.
Because they're all being done manually. Like there's one bloke in California that is reading through the Google form or whatever, and cross-matching and checking and all this sort of stuff. So it's very laborious. But I presume the email that you get, which has the discount code, will explain that it's a one-use only. But I don't think there's a limit on the number of things you can buy. Like you can buy 10 shirts and 10 jackets and hats and onesies and whatever. But I think I'm pretty sure it's only a one purchase. So,
and it only happens once a year or something, or?
Yes. And we're hoping it'll continue next year. You see, like last year, it was a moot point because the Australian shop only opened, I think it was late last year, because before it was only the US shop, and of course the US shop wouldn't ship anywhere outside the US.
Is that still the case now? Can you buy?
In the US shop, it is still the case, but this is the Australian shop. So this shop here.
The US shop's got a bit more going on than the Australian shop.
It does. So you can buy stuff, but you've got to use, what's it called, Richard?
Richard Cooper?
No,
you're muted,
Richard. You're muted.
Which is a good thing, but...
MyUS.com is a freight forwarding. You have a US address that it freights it to.
So I didn't get the first bit.
MyUS.com.
MyUS, MY.
MyUS.com. Yeah. And then you can buy from the US shop.
Yeah, you can buy all sorts of stuff that you can't get here, and they just freight it to there, and it comes straight out to. and it's on weight. They don't charge you on cubic weight. It's literally the weight of the object. They charge you the freight.
Oh, yes. Okay, cool.
Right. So you could buy 3 kilos of aerogel and it'd cost you $5 to freight it out here.
Oh, wow.
3 kilos of aerogel.
I just made that up, okay?
That's a lot.
They say it's on weight only, but I'm sure they've got their limit.
They've got some nice stuff in the US shop. The Australian shop just seems a bit plain. The US
Yeah,
shop
well, we're fortunate to have a shop at all.
Okay.
Because it wasn't only until relatively recently that we actually got a shop.
Is this going to be another sad story, like a tilt truck came along with one T-shirt on the back of it? like I've heard from every
A Cybertruck came by with one T-shirt on it.
And then it left.
Yeah.
Well, like Nigel, at least
I had a
nectar, which was cool, but no tequila inside.
Harold, how come you're at the accident of Nigel? What was going on there? Were you doing something at the?
Oh yeah, so I was helping out with deliveries. So
oh, cool.
I was gonna say try and clean up Tesla's mess, but I was just trying to help out with deliveries.
Did they let you do that now?
Sorry?
I didn't think they're letting you do that. I thought there was an issue with that.
There seems to be an issue now where they're reluctant for that to happen now at the moment.
That's crazy.
Notwithstanding that in the US it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But we'll be working to try and help Tesla in any way we can. So
yeah. Okay.
So big shout out for all those people watching on YouTube. Yeah, we're sort of, quietly trying to help our new members or new owners. But yeah, so that's why I was literally just at random. I didn't know Nigel. The two of us just happened to be sort of looking at this Tesla gentleman, sales guy, moving this white car. And little did I know, or Nigel, that it was his car that crunch just happened to. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was there. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We were there for about a week, and yeah, the March delivery was crazy. Now it's even more intense, but they've changed their method, I think. So now they seem to be doing batch deliveries where they'll get the car park full of cars. They get all the owners and they quickly sort of dispatch them all at once, so they can then carry on with the rest of their key performance indicators, which is basically having test drives.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was there.
Yeah.
It was looked like about 8 cars at once, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was and then it looked like, there was test drives going on, and then looked like there was another 8 cars. It looked like they were delivering about, I'm just guessing, 5 sets of 8 a day. That's what it came across to me as, because there was like a certain time slots that you could go to.
Yep.
And it was very military organized. There was text message, update the app before you get there. Was a day before that message, and there was another message about something else, and there was another message, and then it was like, yep, and then that was it. And then your time slot was pretty much set in 3 days earlier, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that's just due to necessity. It's because of this crazy end of quarter rush, because we're not close to the factory. So those cars were all built in March at the start of the quarter, because to build them they were built in March.
They don't work in our financial year though, do they?
Sorry, March.
We've done in April, I think.
So they're all built in April, sorry. All the cars that have been delivered now are built in April at the start of the quarter in Shanghai.
Yep.
So that they are built and delivered within the quarter, because if they're not, then you've got all this inventory that you've got to account for, which doesn't go to your bottom line. It just becomes an asset, which in their terms is actually a liability, because they don't want to have all this capital on their books, except for the cash they have.
Yeah.
So Shanghai goes crazy at the start of April to build all the international cars. They all get shipped, take time to propagate through, knowing full well that they have to go on the wrong side of Australia, get unloaded from ships and then reloaded to go to Fremantle, and then they're being delivered now. So for instance, right now, Shanghai will be building, all their cars will be local supply, like as in China. There'll be nothing going overseas. But obviously, as we found out, there's a fourth ship, which sounds like maybe it was delayed.
Is it coming to Fremantle?
Yeah, that's what we heard.
No, it's going straight to Port Kembla.
Oh, yeah, but they're going to get transshipped and then a batch will come to Freo, but it'll miss this quarter, so it'll be, you know, early in July, which for Tesla is a minor disaster because it means that those cars that were built this quarter won't get sold until next quarter, so their inventory will actually rise. And of course, you know, analysts don't like inventory.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, Tesla's days of inventory is something like they got 14 days of inventory, or is it?
Yeah. Have you looked at the inventory lately in Perth? Have you seen what's available?
Oh,
since we did about 2 weeks ago. Just have a look at that, just out of
yeah,
shits and giggles, and see how much left.
It's funny over. Because it was 13. I had counted 13.
That was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh no, so I should have gone back to Model S for a different reason. Oh. Hang on.
Existing inventory.
Yeah, no, there was a before when I messed. I'll just go on to here. There we go. Inventory. Model 3. So there's 3, 6, 8 cars only. There were 13. So they are standard range plus. So there's only one standard range plus.
And then the rest of what performance?
And then you've got long range, performance. They're all performances, which sort of shows that performance is less popular, clearly, than long range.
Well, in fairness, he did say to me that was quite a few people that placed the order but couldn't get the finance for the performance.
Yeah.
He did say there was about 5 people that didn't happen for when I spoke to him.
Yeah, right.
So,
interestingly, we were talking to Carmen, I think it was last week, no, the week before, and I think her son was looking, he was looking for a Model S, which you're going to get, Jared, but he probably can't wait, and nor should he. And the good thing is, his black and white interior performance Model 3 in Poverty Pearl White is still available.
What's that colour again, Richard and Harold?
Poverty Pearl White.
Poverty Pearl White.
Poverty Pearl White, because you can't afford to buy a colour, so you get the default Poverty Pearl White.
And it came in the
luxury car tax is less on it.
Oh, really? On the Poverty Pearl White?
Poverty Pearl White.
I know, because I have one.
Because it's less than 2,000 or something?
Oh, because it's Pearl White's a free option. It's no cost.
It's a free colour.
It's a free.
Yeah, right.
It used to be black. So
that's right.
Peter's explained that he wanted a white car, but he went for the black one because it was free. By the time he's arrived, the white car was free and the black cost money. But because he already ordered it, he got his black for free. But he really wanted white.
Yeah, it's
the lesson there is, as you would say, Jared.
Yep. Cry once and cry hard.
And just
keep on crying.
Yeah, just get what you want.
Yeah, just get what you want and just cry. Find the best and research, and then just cry.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Now, on that note, I was just going to say, on that note, I want to thank those that have researched our YouTube channel, which is just Tokwa, and that have liked and subscribed and hit the notification bell, because that takes research to do that. And our subscribers are coming up. I think we've got about 38 off the top of my head. Good thing is, if I've overestimated, in a few weeks' time it will be 38, and I won't look silly. But that's a good bit of research. Like and subscribe, especially you, Elon. but just do it on the QT. But yeah, go on, Jared.
He doesn't use his real name, you know.
He's actually Richard Cooper. So he's using a mask. It's actually Richard Cooper's Elon Musk.
Okay, I'll take it off.
Take it off. There you go. Wouldn't that be freaky? Oh, God.
Oh, dear. Hey, I think on that note, it might be a good time to sort of wind down.
Definitely.
Because, of course, we're going to resume this next week, no doubt.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
shout out to Damon. Let me see, Ashley, Joe, who watches vicariously. Again, someone called Hosni Mubarak. I don't know who you are, but thanks for the comments. Oh, and by the way, if you have any questions or queries, just put them in the comment section, which all famous YouTubers go down here, whatever that means, because on Apple TV, that doesn't work. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And all you guys, thanks for participating. Thanks for staying awake, Nigel. Good job.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't even snoring this time.
Do you know we start tomorrow, Nigel?
But yeah,
actually 7:30.
Oh,
but yeah, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.
Definitely next week.
All right.
All right.
Cheers.
Behave yourself, Jared. See you, mate. Bye.
You too. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
See you,
I
Richard.
won't, but anyway, see you.